Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, the world's biggest Harry Kane fan. And after a 2-week break, Tottenham Hotspur return with an FA Cup tie against Brighton and Hove Albion. And it's the first meeting between the two sides this season as well. It's going to be an absolute cracker. And here to build us up to the game today, we are joined by co-host Jack Kanicki, Sean from Spurs Talk Show, and James from Spurs Related. We'll start with Jack. Jack, my man, how are you keeping?
Looking forward to Sean's reactions to his favorite day of the week. Looking forward to how David reacts to, maybe his least favorite manager, I'd probably say as well, with Harry Potter today. Looking forward to some of the banter, on this pump up as well as on the pump up after. Just looking forward to it, Dave. It's actually a team that normally I feel like be kind of boring to come up against, but I feel like with David's hatred for Harry Potter, with Sean's enthusiasm, it'd actually be a fun day.
No, look, it should be a fun day. 2 weeks without Tottenham, it's not an easy time to get through. And we have the mighty Tottenham back, and honestly, I hate this imposter. I mean, it's even worse that everyone talks about him all the time. You know what I mean? They twerk for him. Even some of the Spurs fan base twerk for him, and it drives me absolutely up the wall. But Sean, you know what day it is.
I do know what day it is. I've got to be careful because I was warming up my vocal cords earlier for this, and I think I might have given myself a little strain. But I don't mind anyway, because it's game day! Come on! 2 weeks! It's been too long! It's been too long! Can't wait!
Absolutely love it, lad. And people have been calling for it in the chat as well, so you're making dreams come true, my lad. You're making dreams come true. And of course, we are joined by James from Spurs Related. How are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, I'm good. Echo Jack's thoughts. Absolutely buzzing for the game. It feels like it's been forever. I think just because of all the transfer window madness. But no, it's good to be back. Looking forward to talking about the game tonight.
No, 100%. I cannot wait for it. But look, as always, we want to see what Irish Hotspur Army are in the building to join us. So let's see who is there. We have DMT85. Big up, everyone. Just on the train up to the game. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big up DMT, my man. Enjoy the game and make sure you just, if Harry Kane's anywhere near you, let him know that the Irish Hotspur loves him. That would be awesome. Big up, my man. KJ Hotspur says 3-0 win today. Big up, KJ. Matt C's in the house. What time is Arsenal's game at this weekend? Oh, wait. Yeah, of course.
like that.
Nice. Big up, Matty boy. Welsh gal, I'd say you're not happy right now if you're a rugby fan. Ireland are absolutely whooping their ass right now. I was absolutely loving the game. But, Spurs came calling, and she says, big up, lads. Let's do this today. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up. Really appreciate you being in here. We have John Stokes, my man. He absolutely retweets everything. This guy's a legend. He says, afterwards, gentlemen, come on, hashtag come on, you Spurs. Big up, John boy. I hope you're keeping well. Who else we've got? We've got Hilsey in the house. He says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, Hilsey. We have Dark Sun G. He's here every single pre-match pump-up. He absolutely loves them. And he says, come on, you Spurs. Man United out by Middlesbrough. Laughing my ass off. Come on, you Spurs. 3-0 today. Did United go out last night? Honestly, I was playing Astro and then went for a cycle, as I was telling the boys beforehand.
They went out on penalties, Dave. Yeah, they went out on penalties.
And not just that, Dave, but Ronaldo missed the penalty in 90 minutes. Put it wide. Didn't even get it saved. Put it wide of the mark. Is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That House of Cards up there, that giant 80,000 seater House of Cards is falling down. It's falling down. They're in a whole world of trouble up in Manchester. It's beautiful to see.
Honestly, Wreck-It Ralph is doing the job I intended him to do. So big up, Wreck-It Ralph. Keep up the good job, my man. Big up, Dark Soji. What a legend. Slim Boy Tubbs is in the house. Come on, you Spurs, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Who else?
What a name. What a name.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually, to be fair. Brian C. Socrates, the philosopher, my man, he says, there is only one day in the week, and that day is game day. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Brian. I hope you're keeping well, brother. And let me know if you're off today. Do you actually get to sit back and relax and watch the game today, my man? Dark Sun G, big up, my man. Really do appreciate support. What a legend. He says, it's great not having to worry about the trio and these pump-ups anymore. Unlucky that West Ham and Chelsea made it to the round of 16. Son to score today. Look, I definitely envisage the return of Sonny today, to be honest with you. I definitely think he will start and hopefully he comes back fit, firing and ready. I'd love a goal from Sonny today, just so that it can ease me into the Premier League games in the top 4 race, knowing that he is back to his best, my man. Look, West Ham and Chelsea both scraped through today. But it's all right. We'll avoid them in the next round. We'll get hopefully a nicer team in the next round and then let them knock each other out. That'd be absolutely awesome, Dark Song G. Jack, anything you want to say, Dark Song G, lad?
Yeah, it is a bit disappointing, Dark Sun G. I was kind of thinking about that today. There are a few upsets, kind of potentially at hand, and we were kind of thinking, wow, maybe some big dogs could have been kind of knocked out of the FA Cup, and, maybe some kind of smaller teams would have been in it, which actually would have been great for us considering, coming up against Brighton, maybe we would have had an easier opponent, the next kind of round. It's a disappointment, Dark Sun G. It's even more embarrassing, though, Dark Sun G, to see Declan Rice, celebrating, a 91st minute equalizer. It's a bit sad that West Ham have gotten to that level, against a non-league side, Dave, celebrating a 91st minute equalizer with a little hip dance and hip check. It's a bit sad. It's a bit sad, Dark Sun G.
Yeah, honestly, to be honest with you, when I did see Declan Rice's celebration, it looked like he was auditioning for Dancing on Ice. I really did. It's absolutely pathetic. It's Kidderminster, man. You know what I mean? Just honestly, grow up a little. But let's keep moving. Big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support. Kane the Long Shot is in the house. He's loving it. He wants it. I gotta love it. And Kerry McDonald says, when the Spurs go marching in, my man, I hope you're keeping well, Kerry. And he's absolutely pumped for it. We also have Para Miguel Escobardo. Big up, everyone. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Para. I hope you're keeping well, lad. We have We're a Sly. To be honest, after Chelsea and West Ham nearly lost, no skip, probably wink starts, and knowing our luck, it's going to be Brighton masterclass, isn't it? Well, We're a Sly. That's why we're here. We have a lot of questions to dish out and stuff like that, a lot of things to get through. So hopefully all your questions will be answered, my man. Hopefully. And DMT85 says, love the intro music, always pumps me up.
Class.
James was saying that as well. Big up DMT. Chris Hagenbar's in the house. Woohoo. Big up, David. My man, I hope you keep him well. We also have Tequila316. Absolutely love the name. Big yourselves up, lads. We have Spaghetti Slayer United. Our banter.
Great name.
We should make top 4 over them easily. Yeah, 100%. Really should. Wreck-It Ralph, like I said, coming in and really wrecking things. You got to love it. Lazy801 says, let's go. Hashtag Harris Army. Sending Potter back to Hogwarts with a Quidditch stick up his arse. You got to love it. Honestly. Big up, Nick. I really hate this guy. Do you know what it is? He thinks he's Guardiola. He thinks he's Klopp. You know what I mean? And he's not. Honestly, he's like a poor man's version. He's absolutely ridiculous. I hate him. I'm not even going to get going. It's not my day. James Joris says, here we go. It's game day. Big up the Harris Army. Big up, Jamesy boy. We also have Ribsy in the building. My man, Ribsy. What's up, legends? Good to see you in, Ribsy.
Legend.
Hope you are keeping well, my man. Who else have we got? We've got Hung Jiao. Absolutely love that, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation, but in an Irish accent, it sounds good, so we'll stick with that. We also have he says, big up the panel, my man. Random Spurs fan is in the building. How's it going, lads? We're all good. Hope you're keeping well. Jack Chamberlain is in the house. Good afternoon, lads. Dave Tyson, my man. I hope you're keeping well. He's also here. Big up, lads. The bottom dude is in the building. This one's going to be absolutely lit. I hope so, my man. Honestly, get the fire brigade on standby to put us out. On your bike, Scott says, big up, lads. 2-0 win today. Come on, you Spurs. We also have Mary W. Love you guys. 2-0 win today. I really hope so. But big up, Mary. We love all you guys that tune in as well. Danny Kiriaki's in the building. Fresh down from the Alps off his skiing holiday. Big up, Danny. I hope you're keeping well. Jay Gilbert's in the house. Come on, you Spurs. I love Ben Davies. Yeah, but do you know what? You can come back in now considering he's been on good form. He says expecting a hard game, but going for a 2-0 win. Come on, you Spurs. I hope so, my man. Look, I'll take anything. I just want to beat them. I really do. I want to send them back down to the seaside so they can have fish and chips on the pier and reminisce being knocked out of the FA Cup once again. Tyler Mills says, come on, you Spurs. I hope you guys are well. We're all good, my man. Kev Williams is in the building. Come on, you Spurs. We can do this. Of course we can. Rico to Z99 says, imagine we draw Chelsea next round.
Not yet.
I'd be raging. Too early, lad. Too early. Maxim G says, what is more amusing was that Man U used their best 11 and lost in penalties. If they use rotations, then they have excuses, but they don't. It's great. I mean, guys, any of you want to come in on this one?
I didn't exactly watch the game, so if anybody did actually watch it, inform me. But that makes it even more embarrassing, the fact that they actually put out a stronger side. I would say in the case of like West Ham today, they did kind of start out with a bit of a weaker side, then they kind of grew, put their bigger players in. But with Man United starting that way, you know, with like a smaller side, let's kind of take a look at it. I do believe, yeah, I mean, Varane, Maguire played, Dave, Shaw played, Pogba, McTominay, Fernandez, Sancho, Ronaldo, Rashford. That's pretty pathetic.
And by the way, they got so desperate in extra time, they brought on Fred for Pogba, and they brought on Phil Jones and Juan Mata. So I thought Juan Mata had retired personally. But yeah, you know, it's unbelievable how desperate they got, really. Yeah.
Look, I think what we can take from that game probably is that, you know, shocks can happen and we want to avoid one today. But look, you know what I mean? Wreck-It Ralph and co. Do not wish them any luck for the rest of the season, but we'll move on because we do want to get talking about Spurs. We'll take just a couple more here. Mark Cousins says, game day. Come on, you Spurs. Big up yourself. Exposure challenge in the house. Look, man's in the house as well. Hi, everyone. Big up. Hashtag leave you out, my man. Kev Williams says, smash a like, smash the subscribe, and let's smash Brighton.
Love
exactly, lad. That's what I'm talking about. Big up, Kev Williams. That brings us into it. We will start cracking into it. But Kev Williams, you are saying to everybody, make sure you do smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you are new to the channel, and feel free to get your super chats in, guys. It is a great way to support the channel. It's a great way to help me and Jack on the journey. It's a great way to share your thoughts as well. And they always lead to very good talking points here as well. You guys out there are a very intelligent bunch, but do not worry. We, you know, anyone out there that is not in a position to do it, don't think this is not the channel for you, because it is. Because we understand not everybody is in a position to do it. It's a big, bad world out there. So just get your opinions into the chat, and we will bring them up as we go along. Now, I'm just going to tell everybody everything they need to know quickly, and then we'll get straight into it. So, of course, we are home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Referee is Stuart Atwell. In the VAR room, it's Darren England. So everybody take note. TV channels for everyone in the USA, you can watch it on ESPN Plus. Canada, I'm not too sure. And for everyone in England, it's on ITV4. For us guys in Ireland, I don't think we can actually watch it, to be honest. So it'll be all them dodgy streams. And the watch along does start at 7:45 p.m. on this channel. So if anyone wants to come in and join in with the crack with us for the game, feel free. Starting at 7:45 p.m. If you want more of this after this and you're just fired up and you're like, Dave, you can't leave me with an hour's gap before the game, before the watch along starts, well then come and follow me over on We Are Tottenham TV. You know, get your crash helmets on, get your armbands on, because we go absolutely cray over there. And so that will be starting at 6:30 over there for the pre-match pump up. If we do get through and anyone wants to know where they can watch the draw tomorrow, it will be happening on ITV ahead of Liverpool. Liverpool's clash with Cardiff on Sunday. So that's when the draw will be made. And of course, in this round, like the third round, there is no replays. So it will go to extra time and penalties. It will be decided today. Tottenham, though, have beaten Brighton in each of their last 7 home games across all competitions. Talisman Harry Kane has enjoyed playing in the FA Cup for Spurs, netting 11 times in as many appearances in the competition. And may I add, I actually tweeted him today, just said, look, Harry, get the job done. You know, send Brighton to bed. And I'll see you next week, where hopefully you can bang a goal in the celebrate in front of me. Spurs' last chance, and I'm actually not messing, that's true, I did tweet him. Spurs' last chance to taste ultimate victory this campaign under Antonio Conte. So we really do want to be able to progress today. And, of course, we reached this stage by beating Morecambe 3-1 in the third round. And Tottenham have won each of their last... Oh, I've already said that one. And Tottenham have reached the 5th round of the FA Cup in 5 of the last 6 games, missing out in 2018, 2019. Few stats for crappy Brighton and Harry Potter, the imposter. The imposter's men can be labelled as draw specialists this campaign, with 12 already to the name in the Premier League, 2 more than any other team in the division. Brighton sits 6 points and 6 places better off at this stage in the league than what they did last season. So no relegation fears for Brighton this season. So I'd say they'll be hoping to go on an FA Cup run. Confidence is high among the Seagulls, not when I'm out there with a pellet gun at present, as they head to in their last 7 matches across all competitions. A 2-1 extra time win against West Brom in the FA Cup third round got them to this stage. Brighton have proven to be a challenging opponent for many teams this campaign, only losing 5 of the 26 games across all competitions. Yeah. It's a shame they can't win any, though. Just 6 league wins this season, with 4 of them coming in the first 5 matches. So after that, they haven't, they started off well, but they are on the decline. And Brighton have come out on top in just 2 of their last 9 FA Cup matches against teams from the Premier League, drawing 1 and losing 6. Players injured for Tottenham. Of course, Ollie Skip is out with a groin. Jaffa Tanganga is out with his knee. But we do expect the return of Sonny and Romero because they were back in training and they are due to be back for Brighton. They are missing Alex McAllister, Moses Caicedo, Jeremy Sarmiento, Enoch Mwapu, and Jason Steele. So that's who they have out. But look, Jack, are you confident heading into today's game, my man?
I'm confident that we can get the result that we want, Dave, but am I confident that we're going to just smash Brighton? Probably not, because not many teams have smashed Brighton this year, and I can't wait for Dave to consistently kind of, ridicule me for my, kind of praise maybe of Brighton for this kind of build-up. But I'm going to be a bit kind of rational here, Dave. I feel like Brighton, they are a team, they've always had close games. They always just put up a good fight, and they always make it close. They kind of just stay in it. Even when they're not playing very well, they just seem to be able to stay in the game. And so I'm a bit worried that this could be like a 2-0 or a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that, just because they're kind of, I don't know, Dave, they're kind of like an annoying kind of pest to play. They just make every game really, really hard. They play an attractive style of football. At the same time, though, Dave, I feel like we're at home. Antonio Conte is building a fortress. We have a lot of returnees for this one with Christian Romero and Sonny, who probably will have a lot of energy for this. I'm expecting that it will be easy for us, but it's not going to be the easiest of FA Cup games, I'll tell you that.
No, look, and I hear exactly what you're saying, Jack, but for me, we scored 2 goals, it's game over. They're not scoring 2. That's honestly, they wouldn't hit a barn door with an aeroplane. It's absolutely ridiculous. James, my man, are you confident ahead of today's game?
Joe, I don't think I'm as confident as maybe you guys, but I do think we'll get the win. I do think it will be sort of a 1-goal sort of difference, but Brighton are a solid side. The problem is, as we'll get into it, they just can't finish their dinner, basically. They never really score more than a goal a game, and if they do, it's against the weaker opposition. They draw a lot of games 1-1. Like I think you said, 13 draws this season is incredible. They've drawn the last
3 1-1 as well. So.
Yeah, at Chelsea, obviously, they got a late winner, and several times they've drawn, like you said, 1-1 in the last 3 games. It's incredible. But I do think we're, especially with Son and Romero back, especially with that back line a bit more solid, I don't see us conceding more than 1. Maybe we will concede 1, but I certainly think with Son in addition in the attack, and obviously our new boys on the bench, we can definitely score more than 1 over them.
Absolutely love that. And I have a slightly different question for Sean. I do want to ask him it now. Just give me 1 second. Dark Zone G says, Cutie and Son to start today. 2 new signings on the bench. Look, we will get into that just a little bit further. Just give me another couple of minutes, Dark Zone G, and we will address this super chat, my man. But I reckon them 2 do start and the other 2 on the bench for me, Dark Zone G. But big yourself up, my man. Now, Sean, slightly different question for you.
Okay.
Well, of course, we do turn our attention to the FA Cup. Us supporters, we've been desperate for us to end the 14-year drought without any trophy. The last cup we won was, of course, the League Cup. But we last lifted the FA Cup back in 1991. That's 31 years ago. But since then, we've only managed to make it as far as the semi-finals on 2 occasions in 2017 and 2018. Why are we not as successful in the FA Cup anymore, Sean?
Oh, I mean, that's a tough one to start, mate. I feel like I was looking forward to just saying, can Tottenham beat Brighton today? Straight into it.
You start off with that.
No, that's all right. I'll stick with the question.
Don't get all the softball questions.
I think that, I think it's a mentality thing rather than anything else. We have in the last 21 years under Daniel Levy's reign. This is a statistic that I often kind of tout around. We have made it to 6 finals in all competitions, including Europe, and another, I think it was 8 or 9. I think it's 14 in total cup semi-finals or finals. And I always say if you're good enough to get to the second from last, the penultimate or the final stage and not get over the line, it's either because you're always playing against teams that are just that much better than you, or it's because of a mentality thing. Now, it's worth pointing out that we haven't ever been the favourite in any of the finals we've ever got to, apart from in the Blackburn game in Cardiff for the Carabao Cup final where we lost. But apart from that, we're always playing against a team that's above us in the league, and generally speaking, a team that's got a better squad on paper. I do think there's something to be said though about there's a lack of winners, or at least I thought there was a massive lack of winners in our team. Although I was pointed out on my stream yesterday that actually there's a few more players that have had more success internationally. But as a team, Tottenham haven't won very much, and individually it's hard to find too many players that have got too much success getting over the line. And now we've got players like Bentancur coming in that have done it at club level consistently in Juventus. You know, I think he's won two or three league titles in the Serie A, and he's got the Coppa Italia a couple of times. So I think bit by bit we're getting there. We're dotting and kind of peppering our squad with players that have got winning mentalities in key positions. Hopefully this year's a different year, but it's a difficult question to answer, man. Why don't we win enough? Like I say, I think if you're good enough to get there, you should be good enough to go one step further. We haven't, and I think it comes down to more of a mentality than it does about other things. Today, on paper, we should be able to win. I've got no doubts that we're going to go far in this tournament.
No, I absolutely love that, Sean. You get me revved up, man. You got to stop it. I just want to quickly, a big happy birthday to Dermot. I'm sorry, I was actually supposed to do this.
I was supposed to say that too, yeah.
But a massive
happy birthday, Dermot.
Dermot, my man, I hope you are enjoying your day.
Happy birthday, brother.
And, you're allowed a few too many beers, my man. You're allowed them. Go overboard today. Go absolutely nuts. And I can't wait to head to the Spurs game with you next week, my man. Big yourself up. We'll go back to Jacko. Tottenham recruited Juventus pair Bentancur and Big Kulu, Dejan Kulusevski on deadline day. Both has been granted work permits and took part in the first training sessions. Kulusevski on Thursday, Bentancur on Friday, and will be in contention to make their debut this weekend. Do you think either of them could start? And how excited are you to see them in action?
Neither of them will start. I think Antonio Conte even said that himself in the press conference, that he doesn't imagine any of them starting. I could see Kulusevski coming off the bench, though. I feel like that could be a potential, arrival. Let's say we need to grab a goal. He could come on, maybe spark, maybe something. Or, we're 2-0, 3-0 up, and you just kind of want to sub him on for Lucas or for Sonny or potentially even Harry Kane. You bring on Kulusevski. That could work. I definitely see Kulusevski coming off the bench, Dave, but none of them are going to be starting.
Interesting. James, are you excited to see these two guys? What do you think they can add to the Tottenham team?
Yeah, I'm buzzing to see them. Jack's spot on. Conte said that they'll be starting from the bench, but I believe they'll both be on the bench. Absolutely buzzing to see what they can both do. I think Kulusevski could honestly be the impact player we need today. I think it's going to be that tight. I think we might need some fresh legs off the bench in that second sort of half, maybe last 30 minutes. Yeah, maybe even going into extra time. Obviously, that could be even more key today. Like, if you think of it on that aspect, like Premier League game, 90 minutes, if they come on for the last 20, they might make an impact, but they've got an extra 30 minutes if it goes that far. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, they could make a massive impact today, and I really do think I'm just buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing to see them both. Like, I really do think that they're going to both be fantastic additions. And yeah, like I said, Kulusevski could be the guy we need to get that winning goal. Can you imagine the scenes?
Honestly, I'd absolutely love it. Big shout out to THFC for life. Ellie's in the house as well, and Mr. K. Big yourselves up. But Sean, I mean, are you pumped to see these guys get a few minutes and to see what maybe they can bring to the Tottenham team, what they offer?
Do you know what? I'd actually rather not have to be in a position where we see them today. As much as I'd love to see them, I feel like if we do see them, it's because something hasn't gone right with the initial game plan. I'd love to see Stevie Bergwijn continue, but I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think he played obviously his heroics against Leicester, and then he played well against Chelsea, albeit we were on the wrong end of the result that day. But I do want to see a similar formation with the players that have done well enough to keep their spots. The only interesting one for me, and you and I go back and forth with Jack's question on whether Romero should start, ahead of Sanchez, or what sort of role he should play. And Sonny coming back, if he's fit and ready to go, then I wouldn't mind seeing him back. But I do want to see something similar. And the only reason you're going to see Kulusevski, in all likelihood, is if we need a goal late on. And the only reason we should need to see Bentancur on is if we're trying to dearly hang on, or if we need to sort of tighten things up. And I don't really want to see us in either of those positions. I'd like to see us in a position where we're comfortable 3-1 up with 5-10 minutes to go, maybe then bring them on to give them a kind of hero's welcome. But apart from that, you know, if we're going to see them on, we're going to probably need them to do something. And I don't think we should be in that position. I think we're good enough today with our starting 11 to send the Potters back or send Brighton back down to the South Coast. With a stick of rock up their ass.
It was coming, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry. I had to say something.
If Dave's anger came out in you there, Sean, I like that.
You gotta love that. The bottom dude says Milan Derby starts shortly. You guys watching? I won't be, no. I won't be watching it, my man.
Dave's working overtime to bottom Duda. I certainly would love to be. I definitely would be. Probably might miss the beginning of it, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be spectacular. I will say Inter Milan, if they do win it, you know, probably winning the title this season. So there you go. Big match.
Enjoy the game, the bottom. Enjoy the game. Oh, Shawnee, you're a funny man. You're a funny man. Jacko, you know, who do you think Conte will hand the goalkeeper gloves to? Do you reckon we could see Galini again because he did play against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, he did play against Morecambe, or do you expect him to kind of throw Hugo Lloris back in there today?
Dave, I was just looking it up. He's on, I believe, 8 appearances so far in all competitions. He's on 8 appearances. Galini, that's basically a little bit over halfway. In terms of the appearances he could make before we're obligated to buy him. I would say we're actually on the right track considering we're about halfway through the season as well. You could say that maybe, Dave, this could be a game where Galini does actually start. We give him this kind of this sort of start when maybe we don't end up giving him all 15 matches, but I reckon we'll get quite close to it, maybe 1 or 2 matches away from him having to be obligated to buy. But I see us still, you know, giving him back to Atalanta, Dave. But Galini, I think he actually will start this one, considering the fact he's actually only played 8 matches, I believe, so far, which isn't actually too many, considering he still has about 7 or 8 more to go until we have to buy him. So I think he actually will start this one.
Interesting. Yeah, do you know what? For me, I would prefer Hugo Lloris to be out there. It's just Premier League. It's a bit different. I would prefer him in, but yeah, you see it through a lot of these cup competitions where you kind of see the backup keeper play to keep them kind of interested, and it just worries me if he does play. Wayne Bonner, big up my man. I hope you're keeping well. Any team news? No, not an extra today that Conte hasn't already reported yesterday. To be honest with you, Wayne, but big up my man. Really appreciate it. Anyone, any different views to Jack on the goalkeeper?
I was just going to say, Jack, you're spot on. He's played 8 games and he's made 1 clean sheet, which was against Burnley in the Cup, which I just double-checked. So, I mean, he hasn't actually made a clean sheet. Well, he's played 1 in 8. I mean, you make of that what you wish. But I would rather see Lloris 100%. I think everyone does. A bit unsure about Galini, about some of his decision-making, especially after that Chelsea game with that kind of pouncing himself like a cat out the kitchen, like trying to get the ball and then just throwing himself in no man's land and putting us in all sorts of bother. Who was it in the end that finished it? I think it was Rudiger. But yeah, I'd rather see Lloris, especially as it's such a big game, you know, Premier League side. Maybe throw him in against Morecambe like we did, but against Brighton, I want to see Hugo, our captain.
Yeah, he doesn't have 5 goals allowed per 90 in the Conference League. Galini, 1.5 allowed per 90. That was pretty shocking.
And if we've all made up our minds that we don't want him to sign permanently, then why are we trying to get him closer towards his minimum requirements?
Well, you do, Sean. You just have to. You got to get the most. You got to squeeze every last bit of juice out of Galini that you can. I think that's. I just personally, I feel like since it's at home, since we're not away from home, that's why I kind of also see Galini starting this one. You know, we are at home. Antonio Conte, maybe he weirdly left him out last time against Chelsea. We still don't know the explanation for that. Yeah. So I don't feel like it would be that ridiculous for them to start Galini. If he started Galini against Chelsea, why wouldn't he start him against Brighton at home? That's basically my logic.
Football London normally get it quite accurate, and they're saying Lloris. So I'm hopefully saying that's correct, but let's see.
I hope so. Sean, you know, with the Premier League tie on the horizon against Southampton on Wednesday night and the race for top 4 raging on, do you think Conte will risk Son and Romero today?
It's a tough one, man. I've been going back and forth, and we had this conversation the other day on my channel. I don't know. Like, we don't know what's been going on the training ground. Sonny, when he's come back from injuries, historically, he's been put straight back in. Yeah, we haven't seen him come off the bench too many times. So if he's fit enough to train and to play on the, he usually starts, and he's such an impactful player. But at the same time, I do think that, Bergwijn's definitely done enough to keep his spot, and it would send a really bad message if you just dropped him because Sonny's fit. Lucas Moura, okay, he's on the back of a couple of games of sort of looking a little bit overtired, but he's had a break now, so he should be back fresh. And I think over the season, he's been very consistent. Over the last 18 months, arguably, he's been incredibly consistent. So I feel like if he's that confident, then I don't mind it. But I'd rather. I'm not against the idea of seeing a Bergwijn, Bergwijn, Moura, and Harry Kane's, in the kind of front three, however that looks. As far as Romero goes, it's a tough one as well. I mean, I'm not particularly concerned. I don't think that the Brighton forward line are that concerning to me, where I think that Sanchez is going to be in that much trouble. So, and also given Romero's injury that he's coming back from, it's such a tricky one that has to be managed carefully. I'd rather give him 20 minutes at the end if we're in a good position, just to kind of bring him on and bleed him back in gently. So I'd rather go as we have been, and then depending on what happens during the game, all of our new players, whether they're brand new into the team altogether or whether they're returning from injuries, we can get them back in during the game if necessary. But I think the starting 11 should be as it was last time out.
Jack, would you agree with that, or would you bring Son and Romero straight back in if they are fit and maybe try your strongest possible 11 out there?
I'm not really too against, having Stevie and Lucas Moura start. I really am. I feel like Stevie, I think he actually had a decent game, against Chelsea. I know obviously it wasn't to the same heights as Leicester, but there weren't a lot of good performances against Chelsea. And I actually thought Stevie B had a pretty decent one alongside Harry Kane. Yeah. I kind of want to see Stevie B kind of be given more chances. You don't really want to see him kind of fall off kind of the burner when it comes to, him being in form right now. So I would say you kind of cater to Stevie B for that reason. I know that kind of sounds wrong, but I do kind of want him to build on his performances and that momentum. So I actually am with Sean here. I would go Stevie B, Harry Kane, Lucas, 3-4-3. I feel like I still start Romero though, regardless. I still start Romero just for that solidity. But maybe Sonny comes off the bench, which certainly we've seen before. Sonny is ruthless when he comes off the bench. He just starts firing right away. So I feel like that actually would be a good approach. Start Romero, maybe leave Son on the bench. But I do know Son has a huge impact. Would
you give, if you started Romero, would you ask him to play the 90, or would you take him off after an hour? I think one of the comments that just flew through was a good was suggesting the same thing. If you are going to start him, do you give him 60 minutes or do you let him see how he goes?
It's hard to say because I feel like sometimes defenders maybe are a bit different when it comes to those sort of protocols than, maybe a forward or a midfielder is. I feel like a midfielder, you probably give him the standard 60 minutes, take him off. But maybe when it comes to a defender, it's actually, you do kind of want to see if they can push the full 90 or get close to there. Maybe you don't start Romero for that reason. Perhaps you put on someone like a Sanchez and then take Sanchez off. But then what does that say to Sanchez? I'm not really sure. I feel like you just have to start with one of them, and whichever one you start with, you have them play the full 90. I feel like, subbing off or subbing on a center back is a bit crazy. Maybe you would sub off a winger and put on like a center back. Maybe we sub off Stevie B and put on Romero. Maybe that's how I could see it happening. But I don't think you change center backs. I just feel like maybe that's one of those sort of like sins of, kind of management subs.
That's a great point.
For me quickly before we go to James is I think everybody knows how I feel. For me, you put Romero straight back in there alongside a Dyer and a Davies. I just think he's better than Sanchez. I just think he's ready. He's had more than enough time now. If he does start, Conte's not going to start him if he doesn't feel he's ready or he's at risk of maybe picking up the other injury. And then if he does start to tire out around 80 minutes, you can take him off, bring on fresh legs. And that's what I would be doing. I would be getting minutes into Romero as quick as possible because we're going to need him on this top 4 race. But James, what's your thoughts on what Football London saying?
My thoughts on just clarifying what you guys are saying, really. I would probably start Romero and try and play him as much as possible. If he's in the squad, he's there for a reason. Like we've got a great medical team. Like they're not just going to put him in the team if they're still like 70-30 or 80-20 fit. So the guys fit. They're both fit to play. We've had that confirmation from Conte, so we shouldn't be worrying about like a reoccurring injury. I'm going to touch all the bits of wood in my office right now. Yeah, there we go. But no, in all seriousness, I think the perfect situation would be to start Romero, play as much as possible, a bit like you're all saying, and then I'd start Son and maybe change him on 60 for guess who? Kulusevski. Come on and be that impact player maybe we need, depending on the score at the time. So I think that would be the perfect situation. And then about Football London, their predicted lineup through Alistair Gold of Football London, who's a very reliable source, as everyone knows. They think Lloris in goal, which again we're all hoping for, and then a 3-4-3. So you got Dyer, Romero, and Davies, Reguilon and Emerson as the wing backs. Højbjerg and Winks in the middle, and then Lucas, Kane and Son up front. So I think everyone would take that lineup. Probably going to be a couple of changes to that because they can't be 100% right every time. But if it's near that team, I'll be very happy. Very happy.
Yeah.
Who's the guy on Twitter that always nails it?
Paul O'Keefe. Yeah, he didn't
Paul
tweet.
O'Keefe.
So maybe he's not actually too sure on the goalkeepers. Maybe he's just gone over there and tried to tap up one of the staff members and get some inside information there. But I think that's the one that's going to be the interesting one, the goalkeeper, and certainly maybe even the centre mids. Because who do you, with Skip obviously being out, do you trust Winks is going to actually have a good performance? Obviously did really well against Morecambe in the FA Cup. So going off that, Winks was one of the better players in that Morecambe game, so I think you've got to give him that cup run, to be honest.
Yeah, and look, we'll get into talking about Winks in a few minutes. But Jack, with the return of Eric Dyer and Romero to the team, is this a major boost offensively for us, especially with some of the goals we have conceded of late? And can they form a partnership alongside Davies that will give us the defensive platform that is needed to be able to go on a run in the cup and secure top 4 in the league? Is that strong enough in your opinion?
I think they are strong enough if they find a sort of kind of, relationship amongst the three. I feel like they actually could be strong enough. I think what attribute kind of comes to mind when it comes to maybe what Eric Dyer and Romero would bring right away, Dave, is that kind of that sense of calm, that kind of sense of, not really panicking in situations. As much as I feel like I think Eric Dyer makes boneheaded decisions and like kind of makes ridiculous sort of errors, he does seem kind of quite calm about it when he makes those sort of, errors. He does seem like he has composure, even when he's making errors, he has composure, which I feel like he will bring back into the side. Look at the goals that Tanganga gave up each time. Lack of concentration, lack of kind of just, just ball watching, all the kind of mistakes that we do know to a degree that Romero certainly probably wouldn't make, and probably to some extent, maybe Eric Dyer wouldn't really make either. And so I feel like what they'll bring back is just that sense of calm, Dave. Maybe that just sort of like smart, sort of intelligent kind of defending that we kind of need to be, kind of put back into the team. We've had Bambi on ice as sort of like the role model defender for us for the past few games. So it's going to be nice to have Eric Dyer as well as Romero back. I would just say, Dave, what they're going to bring back is that sense of calm, that sense of composure. And then to a degree, Ben Davies also has that. So maybe that would make that, that 3 maybe really solid and maybe could push on for top 4, is if they all have that sort of sense of calm, that sense of composure, never panicking and never kind of buckling under pressure. That's what I would say those 3 certainly could build.
And that's a great point, Jack, because, that then filters throughout the rest of the team, that they know that they have a backline that is calm, composed. It's not erratic. It's not all over the place like we have seen with Davies, Sanchez and Tanganga. Very good point you make there, Jack.
Do you know what? I think that. Sorry, I was just going to. Sorry, just very quickly. I was just going to say the one word I think Jack probably didn't say there that would summarise it is experience. You think about Tanganga, very young, bit all over the place, still has a lot of learning to do. And Dyer, although we thought he was a bit like that a few years ago, not even a few years ago, like everyone wanted him out last year, right? So even that year of experience, he sort of matured as a centre back, and we're all sort of like craving him in the starting 11 every game. We're like, we didn't think it, but. When you compare it to Tanganga and maybe even Rodon, Conte doesn't like those inexperienced centre-backs. He likes those already made centre-backs, those kind of borderline, real solid centre-backs that you can rely on every game.
Are you worried about his match, like not match fit, but match sharpness? Is there any concern about Romero just coming straight back in? We haven't seen him play for since late October? It's a long time out. Are you concerned about him at all? In that regard,
to a degree, yes, and then to a degree, Not really, because I feel like he's somebody that I feel like might be almost overly switched on. Maybe too bit, and maybe too like kind of wired, almost too kind of like in the game. I feel like maybe that's how he would make a mistake. Is potentially he would get a really early yellow card or something like that, or makes a really rash challenge when he doesn't need to. That's what I would see Romero kind of having, that lack of match sharpness. I don't think his lack of match sharpness would unfold and like him like switching off all of a sudden. Situation. Okay. I think it would be him just making a big mistake, like cleaning some guy out or like sending somebody into the stands or something like that. It would be that sort of match sharpness. I bet he would just be too wired. I think that's what.
Too up for it. Too up for it.
Exactly.
Please don't be watching this pump up show, Christian. Please.
Everybody, there's 300 in house. Everybody keep smashing that like button. If you are new to the channel, you are enjoying the content, keep smashing that subscribe button. We are here before every single game. And feel free to get in your super chat. Really help support the channel with your thoughts, your points. Always leads to good discussions here from the panel. We always sit here and take a good time to really give it a good discussion. And don't worry, to everybody that may not be able to afford it, we will keep getting your comments up on screen as long as you keep putting them in the comment section. But Sean, Brighton have scored a lot of goals this season away from home. A lot of late goals this season away from home. Leicester, there was a late goal against Leicester, a late goal against Everton, Chelsea, Southampton, West Ham, just to name a few. Is it important we kill this game before 85 minutes? And if the game is in the balance, say we're 1-0 up or it's 0-0 going into the last few minutes, do you back our defenders to stay switched on and hold out and not panic?
Yeah, I'll always back our team. I'll always back our defenders. Look, we definitely have a susceptibility to switching. I don't necessarily think it's always last minute. I think so sometimes, like we mentioned, James mentioned Galini against Chelsea. He puts in a worldy save from Lukaku 10 seconds before. Then the corner came in, went out for another corner on the other side, and then he does that rash thing where he runs out, tries to catch the ball, doesn't get anywhere near it, and it's game over. And I think that a lot of the players in the team can have some of the players in the team have the susceptibility to switching off. But I think most of those players are going to be kind of fed out. Like, so Japhet Tanganga was one that was always going to be someone that was maybe a victim of doing that or a culprit for doing that. He's not going to be anywhere near the starting 11 for a while now, hopefully. That we've got Romero back and Sanchez can be our first choice recovery. So I don't think so. I think we're going to be okay. I mean, it's always something you have to concern yourself with, but I think that there's going to be a calm presence. Dyer speaks the language. He's going to be able to communicate with Romero quite comfortably, and Emerson Royale and Reggie on the other side. I'm pretty confident now with our back four. What I think sometimes is you're almost making a rod for your own back when you sometimes I think making late substitutions to try and hold on to a game, and you bring someone on that hasn't been a part of the game at all, that's a more of a defensive option. But sometimes I think it just throws the shape out, throws the energy out. And then everyone's kind of like, well, who's marking the guy who the guy who's just gone off was marking? All that kind of additional variables that you wouldn't be thinking about in the 88th minute if it was the same 11. Everyone knows who they're marking against. Everyone knows their responsibility. And when you're making changes to try and tidy things up, sometimes you end up making more chaos than the order that you're trying to create. And so I think we'll be okay now. I think we're stronger in the positions where those mistakes were happening. But yeah, I don't want to see those unnecessary kind of fluctuations or substitutions late on, because I think they do more harm than good sometimes, Dave,
Yeah, no, 100%. Couldn't agree more there, Shawnee. Jamesy boy, down to you. With the game on Wednesday, if Conte does want to rest some sort of, maybe rest some players, could we potentially see Matt Doherty and Ryan Sessegnon get the nod as the two wingbacks on the right and left side ahead of first choice player in Emerson Royale and Reglan?
I hope not on Doherty, on the Doherty shout. In all seriousness, he has got to consider Wednesday. Obviously, we've got a game next Sunday as well, so we've got 3 games in 1 week. There's quite a lot of games to fit in. And also, another thing to mention is obviously with the new players coming in, that's going to it's almost like audition day today. Like, you guys, they've got to cement their place now in that starting 11. As Sean said, there's going to be a lot of changing around, although that might not be ideal. It's probably got to be done to test who's fitting Conte's best starting 11. So those players have to all be up for it. We haven't got the likes of Dele Alli and Ndombele and Lo Celso now, like, just completely messing around in the 11 and coming in and then coming out and just maybe filling in a position when we got an injury. All of those players want to be there now, right? Well, I mean, you could argue about a couple, as we know, but they're all in the Conte mindset. They're all on board with this project. So it's a really important game today in terms of almost auditioning for the Wednesday and Sunday games in the Premier League. Yeah. So I think it's important that a couple of players off the bench, well, certainly 2 or 3 players off the bench, get a real shot for maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Obviously, depends how the game's going. That's the most important thing. But Conte, in the back of his mind, will be thinking to maybe mix it up in that second half for the Wednesday game. But I think the wing-backs will be Reguilon and Emerson today, and potentially we'll see Doherty in midweek, but let's see.
And maybe just a follow-up question then, James, if you do think that the Conte probably will be looking to bring subs off the bench, give some of them 20, 30 minutes to keep them involved. Do you think we can see Tottenham maybe go at Brighton early today and try and go at them in the first half?
Yeah, I think that's important. I think Conte will be drilling that into them anyway, because we know that Brighton like the ball. They like the possession. We don't want to be at home, sitting back in our own half. That's the worst thing you can do, especially in a cup game. If we go 1 goal down early, then he's probably changed his whole plan of the game. So I think he'll be telling them to get right off on it on the front foot straight away. Maybe try and get 1 or 2 goals in the first half and potentially make those subs in the second half to freshen it up and maybe solidify that lead.
Yeah, look, I think we should expect a very fast start, a good first half from Tottenham, really trying to get on the front foot. I'd agree with that. I think it makes sense that we go at it in the first 45, try and get the job done, and then not take it easy, but kind of try and dictate the tempo of the game in the second half, and then maybe bring players off the bench and give some rest. 100%. Jack, to you, a lot of Brighton's best play though does come from their wing backs, the bombing wing backs in Cucurella and Tariq Lamptey, and both are very technical on the ball as well. Do you think these 2 players are a major weapon for Brighton? And can our fullbacks marshal theirs? Because if they do, we win this game.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. I would say if you kind of take the wing backs, I don't know if you can, but if you're able to kind of marshal Tariq Lamptey and Cucurella, I think you basically choke out Brighton. That's basically the best way they get the ball forward. It's some of their best sort of danger moments. Their best sort of play comes from the likes of Tariq Lamptey and Cucurella. I've spoke about this before, Dave. It depends on the system, I guess, but your best or your most creative player, it doesn't have to be, a number 10. It doesn't have to be, somebody that's a winger. It doesn't have to be, a creative midfielder. Your most creative player can be a wingback. It can be Cucurella. I would say Cucurella is actually their most creative player in that team. That guy does absolute laps up and down the pitch, and he is really, really skilled in those sort of tight areas and kind of creating a bit of havoc. The same goes for Tariq Lamptey, which is why we've been so after him, is because he is really good creative player. He creates chances for Brighton. If we're able to marshal them, Dave, I think it's going to be an easy win for us. If they cause us a bit of problems, if they cause us some danger, I would say that's how probably Brighton could end up scoring, is through some sort of moment where Tariq Lamptey and Cucurella create something where maybe they put a good ball into the box, maybe they create a bit of havoc, kind of on the touch lines. I just feel like those 2 are actually really, really talented players. They're kind of the 2 players in the whole Brighton lineup that I'm probably most afraid of are those wingbacks. Then again, though, we've done really well against bombing wingbacks before. We did well against Liverpool's with, Andy Robertson as well as Trent. We did the same thing with Brentford. Rico Henry and that Sergi Canos guy didn't really do very much against us. So maybe we do handle, opposition wingbacks well. But I would say, Dave, certainly they're 2 most important players. Lamptey and Cucurella.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what Conte instructs our wingbacks to do, whether he instructs them to get very high and wide to keep theirs penned in. It'd be very, very interesting to see if we can do that. But Dark Zone G says next week is Southampton and Wolves. Both teams are hard to break down. 100% they are, my man. And look, we know we struggle against teams that sit low block. Maybe this Bentancur guy can be the answer. He had an interview himself and did say he likes to play forward. So hopefully this guy can come on and he can be that midfielder who can pick them passes, unlock the door, like I've been calling for all season long. So big up Dark Zone G, my man. But Sean, Dark Zone G does make a good point here as well, saying Southampton and Wolves next week. The right wing back situation is open for debate. Who should be number 1 right now? Should it be Matt Doherty? Should it be Emerson? I mean, who do you think gets the nod, Sean? And whoever gets the nod today, do you think they would be starting against Southampton on Wednesday?
So I'll answer the second part first. I think if whoever does get the nod today, depends how they play today, right? If we're on the back of a good performance, if Doherty does start, look, Doherty, is everyone's, he's going to drop into the number one player to hate, no doubt, right? Now we've got Ndombele out the door and Lo Celso and Dele Alli. There's a space that's waiting to be taken for who's the fall guy, who's the guy all the Tottenham fans want to throw mud at, and it's probably going to be Doherty. But in the last couple of games, he's played better, and he does offer more going forward. Not a lot more, but he does offer a little bit more going forward than Emerson Royale. I think that for me, the choice or the decision of who plays right back, first of all, it depends on the opposition that we're playing against. If we're going to get pinned back against a team like Manchester City or a Liverpool or a Chelsea, you probably want an Emerson Royale who can offer you a bit more defensive stability there. But I also think in the kind of games where it could go either way, like a Wolves, I think that it depends on who you're playing in the midfield too, or if you're playing a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. If you're going to have two midfielders that are like a Bentancur and a Skip, then maybe you have more space for Doherty on there. But if you're going to play, I think essentially, I think that it depends on what the rest of the formation looks like, whether or not or of course the other option is Kulusevski. I forgot to mention him. Conte did mention that Kulusevski might end up being a right wing back. Don't know how I feel about that, but I think that the right position, whoever's going to play the right wing back, it depends on who you've got next to him in the midfield to give him. If you're going to have Doherty, you need to have people that are more likely to offer support to the back three in the midfield too. And if you're going to have Emerson Royale in that position, then you want to have people in the midfield that can be a bit more offensive, because we know that Emerson Royale doesn't offer anything in that regard. We did see Oliver Skip helping against Leicester. We saw Oliver Skip playing in the midfield, but actually hanging out on the right touchline to give Emerson Royale a bit more sort of support and experience. And so maybe that's something that you'll see more of. If you're going to see Emerson Royale in the team, maybe you're going to see the midfielders do that whole kind of parting of the Dead Sea again, like Moses, like we saw against Leicester. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good answer. I think it depends on what happens today, but I also think it depends on who's playing next to him in the midfield. If you can't be too defensive in the midfield and also have Emerson Royale, it doesn't allow anything to go forward smoothly.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
Thank you, James.
Spot on, lad. Spot on. Jacko, as we know, Conte has played many different formations this season. We've seen a 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 4-4-2. What formation do you see Conte playing today?
Just want to say, is it Chris's birthday? A massive birthday shout out as well to Chris.
Yeah, Chris as well.
He said something in the comments. So Chris, massive shout out for the birthday.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Big goats of the Harris Army, absolute legends of the Harris Army, and it's their birthday today.
That'd be some session.
That would be a ridiculous party. That'd be a ridiculous birthday party.
I want to be at that
party.
Awesome
birthday party. That'd be a great birthday party. But just want to say massive birthday shout outs to them. For me, Dave, I feel like with the fact that we offloaded so many creative midfielders for us kind of makes me think that we might rock the 3-4-3 a bit more often this season. We have more depth in forwards up front. Stevie B, Lucas, Kulusevski, Sonny, Harry Kane. That's 5 players that we have to choose from up top. You kind of think, whereas the midfield, we have, I guess, 5, including probably Harvey White. You would then say 5 for Harvey White. So with that sort of lack of depth in the midfield, I would say maybe, Dave, we're going to potentially push for the 3-4-3 a lot more often this season. So I see it being probably Højbjerg and Winks in the middle, and then some version of the 3 forwards up top. I will say we've played some of our best football, though, with the 3-4-3 as well as the 3-5-2. We've looked dangerous with both systems at times. So I have no problem with it. But James, what do you think? I mean, it's the 3-4-3. Do you see us doing that for the rest of the season? Maybe with so little midfielders to pick from? Or so few?
I think you're spot on, Jack. Especially as like you said, we've offloaded all those creative midfielders. And we've obviously got 4, maybe 5 centre mid options that some can go forward. Like Dave said, Bentancur wants to get forward, or was it Sean? Sorry, likes to get forward. And as we know, we almost need that Moussa Dembele back. That would be perfect for a 3-4-3. I mean, the fact they could get back and go forward, but maybe Bentancur could almost be like that box-to-box midfielder. And obviously, let's remember in the Euros, Højbjerg, obviously unbelievable performances for Denmark, got forward and assisted. How many was it? It was like 4 or 5. It was ridiculous. But, Højbjerg can do that role. Skip's obviously developing into a heck of a player. I'm thinking that 3-4-3 sounds really nice right now. And going back to what Sean said about the wing back on the right, I would definitely play Emerson, just building on his point, because Brighton will attack. They'll keep a lot of the ball, and I feel like it's actually a really important game for our wingers today. Not just our wing backs, are maybe Son and Lucas. They'll need to track back and support. Like you said, Jack Cucurella's a hell of a player, and we know Lamptey how good he is as well. They need to double up on those two players, because they're going to really get down those wings and cause problems, because Emerson might struggle against Cucurella on his own. Like, you got to remember that. So there's definitely maybe even needing that centre mid option coming and helping, like you said as well, Sean. I think, you guys have been making some smashing points. So just thinking about it more, that 3-4-3 for me is the one that Conte is really going to push on with today, I think, Dave.
And Sean, do you think so? Did you think a 3-4-3? Or, we know Conte like to play the 3-5-2 at Inter. Do you think that is eventually what he's trying to get at? Or do you agree with the two boys? 3-4-3 is what he'll use going forward this season with the amount of midfielders we have?
Do you know, I think today, given the stakes, I think today is a day for experience over experimentation. And I think that maybe, I completely agree with Jack. In that I think that the squad shape at the moment does suit, and I've been saying it as well, that the 3-4-3 does look a little bit more easier to play with, given the shape we've got and the players we have. The one unknown for me is how Kulusevski's going to fit in, because he's got so much utility and versatility that he could potentially play in the front of a 3, he could play in the front of a 2, he could even drop back, or he could play in the 3-4-1-2 formation in that 10 role as well. So but we don't know yet where his best position is going to be in the pace of the Premier League. I think ultimately 3-4-3 will be something we should probably see more of. But given that Conte likes 3-5-2, and given the conditions, it's so windy outside today. I don't know where you are, James, but where I am, it's like a gale outside, and I'm not that far away from North London. So I don't think that it's a day that you don't want to allow too many variables, too many unknowns to slip in when you have these kind of extra things to think about. And so I probably would rather see a 3-5-2 on some format today. Maybe maybe with Lucas Moura sitting back. If the team that we've suggested is the right one, maybe Lucas Moura sitting back in the 10, or Harry Kane doing it and giving Bergwijn and Sonny more kind of offensive responsibilities. However we do it, but I think to answer your question directly, I do think in the future, when we've got more time and knowledge on how Kulusevski works in the Premier League, I think we'll see more 3-4-3 than 3-5-2. But today, I think you'll see more of a 3-5-2 or some shape variation of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. And we'll definitely be looking out for that one in the game. 100%. Me personally, I think we'll go 3-4-3. I just think with all the attacking options we have, I don't think you can go with a 2 up top anymore. Now, look, it'd be different, like you said, if you do want to do what you were saying, Shawnee, get Lucas to drop in there, and Kulusevski, someone that has the legs to be able to drop in and make an extra man in the middle and help out there at times, maybe when we don't have the ball. But it'd be very interesting whether to see if Conte continues with what he was doing with Kane, Son and Lucas, where Kane would be there, and then you'd have Son and Lucas playing just in the holes in front of him. It'd be very interesting to see whether he sticks with that, or with the options he has now, does he change it up a little? That'd be very, very interesting to see what happens going forward. So we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on that today during the game. But look, I suppose we'll get down to James, because I think he's a big Harry Winks fan. He couldn't wait to mention him earlier on. So, James, Harry Winks has started the last 4 matches. Do you think he will retain his spot in the first 11 alongside Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and would skip out? Well, I think we've already answered it, but will we play the 2 in midfield? So, basically, do you think Winks deserves to keep his spot alongside Pierre-Emile Højbjerg today?
I do. I absolutely do. And just to clear things up, I'm not a huge Winks fan. It's got to be said. I don't know many Winks fans, to be honest, super Winks fans. But if you're out there, all the best to Winks. I think he's really come on this season and almost saved his. A bit like what Sean said about the number one sort of hated player. Probably would have been Winks this time last year, but now the guy's back being loved a bit more by Spurs fans, which is nice to see. But I do think he will retain his place, Dave, in answer to your question, because he had a great game in the last round as well against Morecambe, if we remember. Obviously scored that absolute wonder fluke goal, which was interesting. But also at the same time, he's playing well. I think Conte's really starting to trust him. It's almost like he's the teacher's pet of the team. I think he's like, Conte's favourite. in a weird way. And I think, especially as Skip's out, I think we'd obviously be questioning it more if Skip was available. But Winks, for me, has to slot in there. And as we've heard that Bentancur isn't going to start, it's a bit like Blue's Clues. We've almost got the answer already. I think that Winks is going to be starting.
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah.
Good point, mate.
And look, Jack, is he under severe pressure today to keep his spot? And will that pressure get on him with Bentancur coming in? Because Bentancur is sort of like a similar player to Winks. He'd be coming in doing the same role what we're asking Winks to do, which is get on the ball and, take it off the back line, connect the back line to the forward line, and have passing ability, be brave on the ball, pass forward. Will that pressure get on top of Winks today, do you think?
It's hard to know whether the pressure will actually get to Winks. I think it is actually nice to see though that Bentancur is going to be challenging Winks for whatever position that Harry Winks plays. He is supposed to be our best sort of passer in the midfield. I'm yet to be convinced whether that's actually the case of him being the best passer in our midfield, but he is supposed to be the best passer there, Dave. He's supposed to be that deep line kind of creative playmaker for us, Harry Winks, and Bentancur to a degree could challenge him for that position, as well as Skip, as well as Højbjerg. What I kind of like about the Bentancur signing is that he kind of can do almost every player's position in our kind of midfield. He can do kind of maybe the robust sort of defensive work that you get from Skip and Højbjerg, but he also can do that kind of deep line playmaking, sort of like Harry Winks does. And so that means he's basically just challenging everybody. Everybody's going to have everybody's going to be looking over their shoulder and finding Bentancur right there. So I think will Harry Winks, succumb to the pressure? I'm not so sure, Dave, but at least at the end of the day, Bentancur, he's challenging everyone. Maybe he'll take Højbjerg's spot. Who knows? He could be challenging everybody, I feel like. So that's what I'm happy about at the end of the day, Dave. I want Harry Winks to continue to play well. I would say, though, the last few matches, he's not played well for me. I think he's actually kind of fallen off a bit again. Not to the levels that we know he can fall off to, but he has definitely fallen off a bit the last few games. So, I wish all the best for Harry Winks, Dave. I want that pressure to be felt. So hopefully you can do well with it.
Yeah, no, look, for me, I don't think Højbjerg's in contention of losing his spot to Bentancur. Harry Winks will be the one taken out, in my opinion, eventually, with Bentancur coming in. And I think that's why we've signed him, because honestly, that I just can't get that way. It's been bugging me for the last 2 weeks. That one where Harry Winks panicked and just kicked the ball straight back to Chelsea.
Yeah, that was atrocious.
I mean, I'm sure Conte has looked at that and he just turned around to Paratici and was like, please, now do you understand? Now do you understand? Trust me. Look, this guy, he had a good game against Liverpool, this, that, and the other, and it always happens. He has one or two good games, and everyone gets hyped up about him. He's been poor the last few games, in my opinion, and I do think he will crumble to the pressure. I really do. With Bentancur's sniffing around him, and if Bentancur comes on and has a good game today, I do think he will succumb to the pressure, in my opinion.
You want Harry Winks to be switched on. Sorry, Dave, but that's what you want. You don't want Harry Winks to all of a sudden think he's big dog, like at the training ground. Again, you don't want him to think that he's like all of a sudden, dominated, that spot in the midfield. I think that would be absurd if he ever got that to his head, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, let that get to his head. So I think the signing of Bentancur does, humble him, Dave. It humbles that, good patch of form that he's been under. It humbles that bit of praise that he's received from Conte. I think it's actually at the end of the day, it's really good, because if Harry Winks falls to the pressure, if he can't handle the pressure of Bentancur, then so be it. We're proven right. If he does handle the pressure and he does actually perform on a consistent basis, then good thing, good deal, because that means Bentancur was the reason for that. So I think it's a win-win situation here.
Great point.
100%. I hope he proves me wrong. I really do hope he proves me wrong. I mean, that's what I want. And I hope with Bentancur coming in and really putting pressure on this guy, that he will stand up to it. It's just, I don't think he will. But Sean, I mean, do you think Harry Winks, maybe to flip the question, could elevate his game to a new level with the pressure of Bentancur coming in?
No, I don't think so, mate. I don't think he's. I mean, he is.
Got us feeling right now.
I think there's levels. There's levels. We've always talked about the levels between Skippy and Højbjerg, and that Højbjerg is like a guy who works his socks off, and he's a fighter and all this stuff, and maybe he's a bit tired at the moment, but generally speaking, you can rely on him to find an 8.5 out of 10 for whatever his potential, whatever his ceiling is. basically he tries to get to an 8.5 out of 10 for that level at least every game.
Yeah.
Skippy's level is miles above that. With Winks, I think that, you know, if you ask me, if you want my choice in the summer, I think we need another midfielder and get rid of him or keep him and use him as a squad player. I don't particularly like the fact that he is fighting for first choice. I'm not going to take away. I think he's upped his game this season, and I'll give credit where it's due. He has upped his game. But generally speaking, like the guy that you see on the training ground in the clips, the confidence like that breathes out of him, that you don't see it on the pitch regularly enough. And you know, one swallow or three swallows doesn't make a summer. He's had a few good games this season, but I don't think he's ever going to be able to be some superstar. I think we know his level, and if we want to be top 4, then he's not a part of it. So
yeah. Do you know what? I'd go along the lines with that. Unfortunately, until we get youngsters, maybe Harvey White could be the next one, but until we get someone coming through like that, he's always going to be here.
Yeah. And I wish him well. And I hope he proves us all right. I think we're all saying similar things. You know, James has made great points. Jack's made great points. So has you, Dave. I think that we all know what to expect from him, and it's how close he can get to it and whether he falls away. But if we want to be consistently top 4, if we want to be Champions League level, then you need Champions League level players, and I don't think he has it within him, unfortunately, to be that next level that we would want next season and going beyond. So,
would you know what, Sean? He is a Champions League level player, like, because we're going to keep talking about, even when we're like 50, 60, 70 years old, we're going to be talking about that Champions League performance against Real Madrid, watching it back on the tapes. Do you remember when this random English guy played absolutely unbelievable in the Champions League against Real Madrid? Because you say about levels, his 10 was Real Madrid, and he's never hit an 8 or 9 since then. So, I mean,
he played above his level. That was above his level. He was like smoking something that night and never got drug tested. I don't know. He was on a different level.
Famous smoothies, lad.
Strawberry milkshakes, exactly that.
But look, Jacko, to you, my man. Brighton have picked up points off the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and they do have an average of 54% possession in games this year. Should we sit off and allow them possession and hit them on the counter, or should we just press the living shit out of them and suffocate them?
That's a tough one, Dave, because you could say, you know, let's just press them back. Let's just push them back ourselves. I feel like that's so much easier said than done. The way Brighton play, Dave, they just try to play in a very modern, attractive sort of style of football, which is pressing very, very high up the pitch, keeping a very high line, trying to dominate spells of possession. I mean, Graham Potter, at the end of the day, Dave, he kind of aspires to trying to be just like, you know, the likes of the Guardiolas, the Bielsas, the Klopps of the world. He's tried to adopt all of their kind of styles and blend it into his own little version of one. And to be honest, he's been quite successful with it. Can you just allow them to sit off? Can we sit off in our own stadium against a team like that? I would be worried, but at the same time, Dave, I feel like the way they want to play is going to be the way they want to play. I feel like Brighton, they do play kind of that naive sort of kind of style where smaller teams like that, they'll kind of stick with that philosophy no matter what. Even if they're coming up against a bigger team, they will try to play their game against you. That can actually come to hurt you because then you can be actually quite humbled by a better team. We've seen that with, you know, teams like Leeds when they try to play their type of style against Liverpool or Man City, they can get smacked like 6-0 because they'll just end up being a bit too naive with the type of style they play. Who knows? That could be the case with Brighton, Dave, is we just end up, maybe we do sit back a bit, but we just end up hurting them on the counter and just giving them kind of a bit of a spanking because, you know, sometimes you can we just have more quality on the pitch. We have better players. And if they try to play that sort of style against us, maybe it might be attractive. Maybe it might look like they're the better team, but we could just catch them out each time they make a mistake with that sort of style. And then we might be 2-0, 3-0 up by the 60th minute, even though Brighton have done all these great, you know, sort of progressive modern type of plays or, you know, attacking styles. At the end of the day, Dave, if we do kind of sit back and kind of punch them in the mouth, we could just be 2-0, 3-0 up and just continue to let them have the ball. We don't have to necessarily take the game to them, you know, and try to play their game, Dave. We can let them play their game and just outclass them.
Yeah. No, 100%. Of course we can, Jack. I agree with that. Mikaleo says, something's gone on with my YouTube. Can't see your video, but listening to you. Is anyone else out there experiencing this problem? Because I know we're having problems here.
No.
Sometimes it's showing like there's one viewer, even though there's 351 in house. So if anyone else is having that problem, do let me know. But look, everybody, keep smashing that like button. Keep smashing that subscribe button if you are new. And if you are enjoying the content, feel free to get your super chat in and help support the channel. But Sean, we'll go to you, my man.
Yep.
Is the partnership of Winks and Højbjerg combative enough to win possession back against a Brighton team who do like to retain possession? It's not a good
Yes. Yeah, so you're coming out with some absolute bangers today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get that one.
I feel like I have to pause and think like a politician. Like, before, how do I say this without sounding like an idiot? I feel like, I think they are. Yeah, I definitely think that. I think Højbjerg. I definitely think Højbjerg's going to step up today. I can see. You know, you asked me the question about whether Winks is going to or you asked the panel, is Winks going to suffer or struggle with the extra competition of Bentancur?
Yeah,
I think you're going to see a Pierre-Emile Højbjerg that's going to, if I said that we know his level and he's like a solid 8, I think you're going to see him find 9.5s now. Whatever level he's got, I think he's the kind of guy who is a fighter, not just for the team, but a fighter for his place. I think he's going to put in the extra shift. He'll run the extra yard. He'll put the extra challenge in. You know, the only thing you can ever discredit about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is his overall ability, his technique, his whatever.
Yes.
Like, it's just whether he's like that worldy. But in terms of fight, in terms of grit, effort, determination, and fighting for the shirt and the team, you can't argue with that. And with a little bit of extra competition, he's never going to give up without a fight. So I think that today he's going to put in an absolute... I think here's the early prediction, man of the match performance from Højbjerg today. Because I think that he's going to be watching over his shoulder for Bentancur. So can we win back possession?
Would you stick
Yes,
a
we can.
fiver on that, Shawnee? Just quickly, before you move on, would you stick a fiver on Højbjerg getting man of the match there?
What, as a personal bet with
Is
you?
it where I bet?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll put another fiver with you, mate. Yeah. But you have to give me 2-1 odds because there's 21 other players that it could be.
No, I'm saying, would you feel confident enough to stick that fiver on a bet in the bookies?
Yeah, there is, but I don't know if you could get man of the match bets in the bookies. I'll take a look on Betfair after the call and I'll let you know. But if there is a bet, then I will definitely put it on, whatever the odds. Okay. But I do think so. I think he's going to step up today. I think he's going to have an absolute monster performance. We'll see what happens with Winksy. But I think you're also going to find that I think that Conte now, like, you could just hear from things like the press conference yesterday when he was more than happy to slate the previous management of our processes, our recruitment. I think that Conte now feels like he's got the bull by the horns and it's his team. And I think you're going to start to see him thrive with new kind of strategies. We saw one that was brilliant against Leicester where he pulled the teams out wide. I think today Conte may have a little master plan up his sleeve where we're going to see some way that he understands what we need to do to break them down, to get the ball back. I think Højbjerg is going to be pivotal in it, but I think we might see some new things. We're going to be talking throughout the game, guys, about, wow, have you seen this? Are we noticing that? Seeing how these are doing this? I think we're going to see some new sort of things happening, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is absolutely going to be able to win the ball back from their midfield 2 or 3.
Love that.
I hope so, my man. A big up Ben Kaufman. Ben Kaufman's in the building as well. My man, what an absolute legend. This year, Brighton, Jamesy, aren't exactly the XG Kings anymore, but they do play a very attractive modern style of football and Poster with a back line, lots of pressure and flying wing backs. Could our players be caught off guard by their brand of football today?
For sure, definitely. And I think the Spurs players are going to be, some of them, quite surprised how much possession Brighton do have. I mean, obviously, they've researched it and done the videos before the game, I'm sure. But I think the surprise could come certainly from those wing backs. I mean, Cucurella and Lamperty are going to cause problems in attack. That is 100% sure. They're going to get crosses into the box, which is why I'm glad hopefully Romero comes back in, because we need those centre backs that know how to deal with it and not have an absolute flap in the centre centre back and start panicking. Cough Tanganga. But no, in all seriousness, I think Brighton will surprise a lot of people today. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people on social media going, "Wow, Brighton are a decent side." Like, I'm not trying to big them up and wind you up, Dave, but honestly, Brighton are a good side. They're going to cause us some problems, and I still think we're going to win, Dave. Like, I'm staying positive on that, but I do think I've seen people say 4-0, 3-0. Honestly, I cannot see that. But, Brighton are going to be especially in midfield as well. I feel like obviously we covered about Winks and Højbjerg. I'm looking forward to the Højbjerg versus Basuma battle. I think that's going to be an absolute battle of the Titans. Obviously, we're linked with Basuma. It's always going to be a scouting regime for Baratici to make sure he pushes Daniel Levy to put his hand in his pocket in the summer and buy Basuma and Lamperty. But I think like Basuma, he's an unbelievable player. He reminds me a little bit of when we had Moussa Dembele. He's a proper player. Can kind of do everything.
I think a lot of clubs will be holding off on Basuma for a while if you read what was in the papers a while ago.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, has he got personal problems, has he?
Well, it's a bit like what's happening up in Manchester.
He has a similar court case.
He got arrested in Brighton. Yeah, I'm not far from Brighton. We saw it in our local papers quite early, and it was definitely him. But he's got some problems.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, something happened at a nightclub. I'm not going into it now. We're not a policy show. We're not Sky News or anything like that. But no, in all seriousness, I get what you're saying, Dave. But I do think, sticking just to the football, he's an absolutely class player, and I think we'll see that today against Højbjerg. But let's hope Højbjerg keeps him quiet. Like you said, let's hope he goes to that 9.5 performance, Sean, today. I really want to see that.
100%. And Jack, I mean, this is one of your questions, so I'm going to have to let you answer your own now, man. Same question to you about the XG Kings and the brand of football. I know I'm going to have to sit here and listen to you bigging them up for a few minutes. So work away.
Hang on, Dave. Wait. So Jack, you're giving him a softball. You're throwing these nasty ones my way. You're giving Jack one that he wrote himself.
Jack's take it off me then, Sean. You're welcome.
No, I don't want it.
Jack's got his script ready, hasn't he? Jack's got his script. He's ready to read it. Here we go, guys.
Tailor-made answer coming. But Dave, I kind of already feel like I was kind of speaking about it before, actually, to be fair, when I was talking about how you don't necessarily have to play the same sort of style of football. Like if they press you high up the pitch, if they try to dominate you in your side of the half, you don't have to try to meet them with that sort of style as well. You don't have to, meet them toe to toe with that. You can play your own sort of style. You can play your own identity and still hurt them plenty. You don't have to just meet them with the same sort of aggression, with the same sort of high press and everything. Will our players be kind of, intimidated by it? Will they be kind of caught off guard? I would say they could be actually quite caught off guard by it, to be honest. I would say Brighton, they're not really like the Southamptons or the Watfords of the world I just feel like they do actually have a very cohesive unit. They do play, Dave, a very attractive style of football. They do give big teams also, Dave, really tough games. They've given a lot of big teams tough games this season. I do maybe expect us to be probably caught a bit off guard by maybe the way that Brighton play, the speed in which they play. But hopefully we can still handle them and outclass them like I was kind of speaking about before. But certainly, Dave, I would say maybe they could actually get caught off guard by it because a lot of other teams got caught off guard by it. Chelsea have, Liverpool have, Arsenal have, Man City almost did at one stage. So a lot of teams have been caught off guard by it.
Do you know
Great
what?
answer.
I actually just can't wait to beat them, to be honest. I really can't. I cannot wait to beat them and just put up all over social media, Brighton who. Honestly, I can't wait. They're so average. It's unbelievable. But I can understand why people are praising them. A small team. They're trying to play the right way. They're taking points off bigger teams. I get it. But they don't have the force to be able to capitalize on it. And I'm absolutely loving that. Absolutely.
They've got Danny Welbeck, though, Dave.
I mean, the guy's been in a cast for the last 9-10 years. You know what I mean? He's always injured. I wouldn't worry about him, to be honest with you. But look, Sonny will return today from injury. He has been a huge miss, and Antonio Conte has a big decision on his hands as to what he selects as the supporting cast of Harry Kane up top today. Is Steven Bergwijn the ideal man to come in, as he did impress in the previous two games? Is it Lucas, who looked tired and looked like he needed the rest? Is he rested and ready to come back in? Or could it be the deadline day signing in Big Kulusevski? Who would you select as the options out of all the options we have?
To start or to come off the bench? To start. Yeah. Well, listen, I still stand by the point, and I stand by it as well for the back for Romero for the Romero Sanchez thing. I feel like if a player's done enough, who we all know is ultimately second fiddle, But if he's taken his opportunity, then unless he's done something which requires dropping it, I think it sends an awful message through to players individually. And someone like Stevie Bergwijn is definitely a confidence player. Like when he first came and he scored the goal on his debut, he played well the next couple of times he got the chances. And then when he didn't play and he comes off the bench, he didn't do very much. I think he's someone who absolutely breeds his performances through the confidence that he has within himself. And I think if you took that away from him today, if you put him on the bench for Sonny to come straight back in, I do think it sends the wrong message. Obviously, Sonny is a class above. I think if you're going to drop any of them, I think you should probably arguably drop Moura just on a form base. But I don't mind. I do think we have a wealth of options up front. I think if we're doing a 3 up the front, however, if it's a narrow 3 in a line, if it's Harry up front and 2 behind, if it's Harry behind and 2 up front, whatever the formation is, then I don't really mind. I think we've got a great like a headache, a selection headache. But I do think that Bergwijn should maintain or retain his place, just because I think it's the right thing to do, and he hasn't done anything, and there's no reason to think that he won't put in a shift tonight or this evening. So, and Kulusevski, I don't think he'll start anyway. So I'd remove him from the conversation. It's between Moura, Bergwijn, Sonny, and Kane, and of those 3, I think if any of them should be dropped, it should be Moura personally.
I would actually go along the lines with that, to be fair. And James, do you agree that would be very harsh for Steven Bergwijn not to start today, considering his heroics against Leicester and against Chelsea? He actually had a decent game.
Yeah, I thought he was one of our best players against Chelsea. I was about to make that point. He was probably unlucky not to kind of be rewarded more for that game. But I would probably go with that 3. I do think it will be Lucas, though. I think Conte's still thinking like maybe Bergwijn's more magic off the bench. Obviously, some players are impact players. Depends how a game's going. Bergwijn's not the best player at starting games, as we know. So maybe. But the thing is, if you go back, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago, maybe 2 seasons ago, we played Man City away and Lucas came off the bench and scored literally in, 15 seconds from that corner. So obviously not going by one example, but Lucas is good off the bench as well. So we're quite lucky, actually. We're in a position where we can bring whichever one off the bench, whoever doesn't start. So headaches. rather than
good headaches, great headaches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I would probably imagine. I don't know. I think it's going to be Lucas that starts, just because I'm going off a Football London prediction, and I think those guys are pretty spot on.
James, I agree with you. I think it probably will be those 3, but I think it should be. But I think Bergwijn will be, if he looks at the team sheet now and finds out that he's on the bench. If it was me, I'd be gutted.
Sean, do you think that maybe Conte could have spoke to him maybe during the week and just said, "Look, Bergwijn, I'm starting at Harry Kane, Son, and Lucas, but what I want is for you to come off the bench and have the impact like you did against Leicester City."
Yeah. Again, it's man management, right?
Take Kane off a bit early, get Bergwijn up there, because Conte has said that he did see Bergwijn as a striker.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you'll see Harry Kane. I don't think we ever see Harry Kane getting substituted. Unless the games. I think he was substituted recently, wasn't he?
I was going to say, I think he literally did last game.
Sorry.
Something, I
we'll never see it, though. We'll never see it.
I love saying things, and when they come out of your mouth in real time, you go, that doesn't make any sense, because it happened last time we played. No, but you very rarely see Harry Kane subbed. Look, Dave, I mean, I don't know what Antonio Conte's man management style is. If Harry Redknapp was in charge, I'd imagine Harry Redknapp would put an arm around him on the Friday on the training session and say, "Listen, mate, I think you're doing really, doing great things, but this is the way we're going to go, and this is what I want from you. Don't take it as a knock. Take it as this is part of the strategy, because I think you're perfect for this, impact." But I don't know if Conte does that. I don't know what he's like as a communicator to the players. If he is the type of person that would do that, and that is the plan, then I would hope that he would do that, rather than Bergwijn having to find out by looking at the team sheet when he gets off the bus. That would be, like I say, if it was me, I'd be really disappointed, because I don't think he's done anything that deserves dropping.
No, I would be as well, especially after having 2 good games, and if he is putting it in training and being impressive in training, you kind of would be left thinking, what do I have to do to get into this manager's plans,
Yep.
But,
and he could have gone back to Ajax, right? Like a week and a half ago, Ajax were desperate to have him, but Conte said, "No, he's definitely staying. He's part of my plans." Well, show me I'm part of your plans. Give me a chance,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think we've got a nice headache in the fact that we're really lucky. Our forward line is very fluid now. Like you think of our front line, you got Son who can play up front and on the right wing or left wing. Lucas can play as almost a number 10 and up front. We've got obviously Kulusevski apparently can play as a second striker and off the right wing. You know, we got some nice problems, and Bergwijn obviously playing up front with Kane against Chelsea. So these players can play all along the front three. I mean, that's such a good news, and that's probably why I'm not so annoyed we haven't got a proper backup striker for Kane, because the front 4 or 5 attackers we do have can really be fluid.
Well, the only thing would have been nice, James, is if we'd signed that Weghorst, whatever, who's 6'6". That would be. Yeah, but he would have been a great little additional option, right? You keep him on the bench, but we haven't got any real height up front, have we? We haven't got any real aerial threats. To have someone like him in there as well would have been awesome. But I'm happy with what we have.
Bring back Llorente. Yeah, bring back Llorente. For the banter.
But you know what? Am I too disappointed we didn't get back up to Harry Kane? Not really. Conte says he sees Bergwijn as back up.
There you go. Yeah.
Lucas can play up there. Son can play up there, and so can Kulusevski. So I wouldn't be as alarmed. You know, as maybe normally, as I normally would. But you make a good point about the amount of options and the fluidness and having the tree up front. And this transitions me into the next question nicely, James. So good tee up, my man. Honestly, I'm coming in with the driver now. I'm smashing it straight down the fairway. But Jacko, you know, with all the talent we have in these forward areas, surely we can we cannot really afford to go 2 up top anymore, because you're going to piss off more players. Because there'll be more attacking options sitting on the bench rather than playing with the amount of options we have.
Yeah, actually, that's true, Dave, because like we broke down earlier, I think we have 5 very talented players and very, really solid players in the front line. So if you did 2 up top, that would be leaving 3 of them on the bench, and we can't just sub on all 3. I think you're right, Dave. I think this is kind of maybe why I said I see us going for the 3-4-3 more for the rest of the season, is because I feel like we have so many good players in the forward areas now. We have so much depth up there. I feel like we have to do 3-4-3 for the rest of the season. Not only because we have the depth there, but because probably it seems a bit crazy to have that much quality players up top and not really, really go for it and really try to nail down the 3-4-3. We don't really have a huge amount of depth in the midfield. We have a lot of depth up top, so it kind of just makes sense today for the 3-4-3. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it's actually a great way. It's a good problem to have. Maybe, as James said even before, it's a good headache for Conte to have. It's a great kind of headache to have, where you're just picking between in-form forwards. You're not just picking the same forwards every time, like I kind of did feel like before. He actually has a lot of players that he can pick from there in good form that also can offer something and are all challenging each other. I think it's a great problem to have, Dave.
No, I'm just to add to that point, having them all challenging each other. You know, they're going to be at their most competitive in training during the week. You know, they're all going to be wanting to perform better than the person ahead of them. So it brings that good competitiveness spirit. And then hopefully that will reflect then onto the pitch. You know what I mean? Where you're seeing more consistency out of our forward players. Knowing that if they are not consistent or they are missing chances, that there's other guys to come off the bench that are hungry and chomping at the bit. And then also when them players are coming off the bench, you know, like I said, because they're hungry, you're going to see even more attacking output. So I really do like the attacking situation we actually have at Tottenham at the minute. If Conte can get them all focusing in one direction and hopefully then bringing the best out of each other every single day, that would be absolutely brilliant to have at Tottenham. Because, you know, you look at our back line, it does look like hopefully Dyer Romero and Davies can pick up a very good partnership. And I don't think they're going to concede too many goals with them in that team, because you're not going to see as many mistakes. But we will have to outscore a lot of the teams to be able to get top 4, in my opinion. And I'm really happy with the attacking situation we have at Tottenham right now, because before we didn't know what the situation was with Bergwijn, didn't know whether he was staying or going, how happy he was. Gil, you know, as much as he was coming on and he tried, you know, did he make the impact that we wished? Maybe not. But now all of a sudden, Bergwijn, Kulusevski's there, Son, Kane, Lucas. You know, it's an amazing attacking options to have. I do feel heading into the last bit of this season with the top 4 race. But moving on. Actually, sorry, Sean, did you want to say something on anything Jack said there?
No.
Oh, I was going to say something, if I may.
I agree with everything Jack said. I thought Jack made a great point.
No, he did. And about the good headaches again, it makes a change for Spurs to have good headaches rather than bad headaches. You look at before this window, it's almost like Conte had a bad headache with who he had to play as that third midfielder. Was it going to be Dele Alli? Was it going to be Ndombele? Was it going to be Lo Celso? It's almost like he knew he was playing with 10 men plus one that didn't want to be there. Let's be honest. And that's the other great thing about having 2 centre mids rather than 3 centre mids. It almost like he was forcing the 3-5-2 to try and be like an Inter. When he had to play Dele Alli, Lo Celso, or Ndombele as the third, it was almost like, oh well, I'm going to risk this guy, but actually he's not really on board with the regime. He's not really wanting to be here past January.
Great point.
So it's great that we don't have those kind of problems now.
Yeah. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. I love that. That's a good point, Jamesy.
Great point, James.
And look, guys, last question of the evening. And we'll start with Jack, and everyone can chime in on this. Do you think Antonio Conte is turning the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium into a fortress, especially if we win today, Jack?
I think so. I feel like this game would really decide, because what is it, Dave? Like the only time that we've lost under Antonio Conte at home would be versus Chelsea, which is our which is our bogey team at the end of the day. I also thought we didn't really put a horrible performance up against them. I actually thought we put up a pretty brave performance for the first 45 minutes, just like what we discussed though before. A lot of mistakes that we commonly make, came to our downfall. But I think, Dave, if he does win this one, it is turning into a fortress. It feels like the crowd is really behind us when we're playing. I can see that the players seem to play a lot different. We seem to go for it a bit more at home. We kind of come out of our shell a bit more when it seems like we're at home. To a degree, you could say we're even a different team when we're at our home ground. So I don't know, Dave. I think if we do win this one, let's say comfortably as well. Let's say we win this one comfortably. I would say this has turned into a bit of a fortress under Conte. And Conte has even said it before, though, Dave. He wants it to turn into a fortress, and he's actively trying to turn it into a fortress. So hopefully he can get it there.
Oh, spot on. And it's very important that you pick up as many points as you can at home. To be able to meet your aspirations of the season, because if you can't pick up points at home, how do you expect to pick up points away where you don't have the fans behind you? Where teams, because they're at home, they will come out, they will come at you. So it is massively important that we do turn this stadium into a fortress as well. Because, Sean, we don't want teams coming here believing they can take points off us. We want them coming here already defeated, more or less.
Listen, I think if you remove Chelsea from our history or from our form, right? I think we're second or third in the overall form, in overall competitions, right? We played just as many. Obviously, the Europa League's different, but against English teams, and I think we had this conversation before the Leicester game about whether or not the away form was bad, but we had to make the kind of distinction that it looked worse than it did because of under Mourinho and under the stats that were there. We'd only won 6 times in the last 3 years or something, but it was because of the Nuno and the Mourinho time. I think we're a fortress. I think we're a fortress at home. I think we're kind of we make other places a fortress under Conte as well. We don't lose very often. If you remove Chelsea from the equation, obviously the last 2 months we've had to play that horrible outfit 3 times, and God forbid we're done with them for the season. Don't want to get them in the FA Cup anywhere near them. But I think Tottenham is already a fortress. I think it has been a fortress for a fairly long time now. As long as you ignore Chelsea, but everyone's entitled to have one bogey team, and if it has to be them, it has to be them. But yeah, we're going to smash them tonight. It's not. I agree with James and Jack. It's not going to be as easy as a complete. It's not going to be completely easy, but we are going to send them back to the South Coast in a bad mood, and on to the 5th round.
What else are we sending them back to the South Coast?
with a stick of rock up their ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought I'd said it once, I won't say it twice.
Sticks, if you rocks.
No.
James, have you anything to add now before we end up?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a really interesting point about Chelsea, because I just had a quick look at the stats, and the last loss other than Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, where we lost 1-0 at home, was the El Sacico when we lost 3-0 against Man United. Obviously, that was 3-0, and that was under Nuno. And then before that was Chelsea. And the last time which was a 3-0 loss. And then the last time we lost at home was in the Premier League against Villa in May 21. So, I mean, it is really becoming a bit of a fortress.
Yeah.
We are hard to beat unless it's like sort of that bogey team like Jack said, or whether it's a really, really top team. I mean, Man United caught us on El Sacico Day, and I'm glad they did. Like, I count that as a win, actually, that game.
Yeah.
So actually, so we've just lost to Chelsea twice. Yeah, there you go. But no, I think
Such
just
a
to
good
echo what you're saying, I do think it is going to be a hard game. I know, Dave, I want to hear your reaction straight after the game if we win sort of 3-4-0, because I know you're going to be all over that social media giving those Brighton fans some banter. We've even had a couple in here, which is really nice to see. Thanks for turning up. But no, I'm just looking forward to the game, buzzing to see the new signings.
Yeah, same here. Chris says, if you had to pick fourth place for winning the FA Cup, love your show. Come on, you Spurs. Chris, first of all, I really appreciate the kind words, my man. It really does mean a lot. And thank you for your support as well, first of all. And look, we'll all answer this one. Do you know what? Just because it's been so long, I'd take the FA Cup. I know a lot of people say top four, but I want trophies. I'm in it for glory, my man. So I'm going to pick the FA Cup.
Yeah, FA Cup for me. I mean, it gives you the trophy, as Mickey Hazard said. It starts to breed, that sort of winning mentality. You actually have a winning mentality around the dressing room. That's where you need to start. You don't really breed a winning mentality by getting top four. You do by winning trophies, winning actual tangible things. But as well, the FA Cup gets you into the Europa League, which I'd be happy with. A trophy and a direct shot into the Europa League, I'd take that any day, actually. Kind of, alleviate a bit of our stress about top four. So for me, Crest, easy decision. FA Cup, give it to me every day.
Yeah. Good question, my man, James.
Oh, sorry, James. Yeah.
I'll let you go at the end, Sean, just because I know you're actually favouring fourth by the sounds of your reaction. But I was going to say exactly what Jack said. I would go 110% a trophy because we haven't won one in about 14 years. And like Jack, that's a spot on point what Mickey Hazard said. By the way, happy birthday, Mickey Hazard. It's his birthday as well today. So his birthday's around. There's the hat trick.
What a day!
There's the hat trick. But no, we had him on our show, and he was all about getting that trophy, which breeds mentality, and then you can win more trophies from there because you know how to get over that line finally. So I would go FA Cup 100%, and like Jack said, Europa League, which is a more realistic trophy we're going to win over the Champions League. Although it's lovely being in the Champions League and having those special nights, I think we'd have a great crack. We'd have a great crack at the Europa League next season, especially under Conte. We got so close the year under Mourinho, and then we lost to Dynamo Chicken Kiev. But no, it was, I think, absolutely 100% the trophy.
I love that. And Shawnee, I think we all know where you're going with this. Explain the logic, lad.
The logic is, if you read through that Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, the financial summary of where we are the last 3 years and what we're basically breaking even with a little bit of £15 million profit when you've got 155 million quid in player trading bills to pay from players that have already left the club. We actually haven't paid off. If you want to get to the next level where you can not just win the FA Cup as a one-off this year, but if you can get the team together where you can be a competitor and fight for it every year, you need the players to be able to do that, because 9 times out of 10, the teams that win the Carling Cup or the team that win the FA Cup are also the teams that finish in the top 4. If you want to do that, not just 2022, but 2023, 24, 25, you need a Champions League level team. And the only way you get a Champions League level team is by being able to offer Champions League level Champions League to Champions League level players and be able to afford Champions League level players. And we can't do that if we finish 6th in the league and win the FA Cup. If you qualify for the Europa Cup, the Europa League, you're gonna make 30 million quid next year in prize money and additional TV revenue. 40 million if you go, 50 million if you go really, really far and deep into it. If you qualify for top 4 and you get into the Champions League, then you're going to make at bare minimum 100 quid in prize money and TV revenue. And if you go far in that competition, like we did in 2019, you're going to make upwards of 150 to 160 million. If you want to get to that level consistently, you need to be able to offer the thing that everybody wants. Until you've got an academy that can deliver players, until you've got a scouting network that can find the next gems. And we don't have those things. We're bad at those things. So for me, it's top 4. I've got the long view on. You guys can have your short view and think about trophies now. I'm thinking about the future 10, 15 years, and I'm thinking Champions League is pivotal for me. Top 4 all day long.
Sure. What about this then? What about you get the FA Cup win, you qualify for Europa League, you win the Europa League, and then you're in the Champions League. How would that settle for your financial account?
That would be absolutely fine, but that's 2-3 years away. Let's worry about right now. It's a good point. Listen, I understand everyone's argument on it, and of course, the people that want to win trophies. I understand it's instant success. It's satisfying, and sometimes it's time. We're well overdue. But for me, I think I want to see the likes of. I don't want to see Liverpool gazumping us at the last minute, not on money, but on what they can offer. I don't want to see Barcelona gazumping us, not on money, but what they can. Because I want to be able to offer what the best players want and be able to afford the best players' salaries. And you know what? Looking through those numbers, having a wonderful stadium when you've still got debt to pay off on it and you've still got massive back debts on players, that stadium revenue doesn't even cover 50% of our current salary, let alone our current wage bill, let alone what we would have if we wanted to go that extra step. So top 4 for me is pivotal. I understand why you say the FA Cup, but I think we'll win the FA Cup 3 years in the next 10 if we can get into the Champions League every year in the next 2 or 3.
Big up, Crest. I hope you enjoyed all the answers, my man. Let me know who you're siding with. Are you siding with me, Jack, and James? Are you trophy hungry? Are you about the glory? Or do you see Sean? You have to be able to put the places in step to be able to get the glory.
Give me the money, baby. Give me the money, baby.
Do you know what though? You're not siding with just Sean. He's not solo on this one. You're siding with Daniel Levy because that was a very Daniel Levy answer. So pick yourself up, Sean.
Big up, Crest. Big up, Crest. Spurs 72 says Brighton have average goal a game in the league, but do you guys think this FA Cup is a different animal and we need at least a minimum of 3 goals? I'll be honest with you, Sean. I've been saying, or Spurs 72. My opinion is, and I was saying this to the boys, I think Jack and that yesterday as well. For me, I think you score 2, you win this game. I really do. I don't see Brighton scoring 2. I don't see them having the quality to score 2, to be honest with you. These guys wouldn't hit a barn door with an airplane. They really wouldn't. So for me, I think 2 goals, my man. Jack, what would you say to Spurs 72?
Yeah, it's a great question, Spurs 72. It's something to be feared. They have found a way to get a goal in the back of the net. They always seem to find a way to get a goal at least. They also have a pretty it's not a very leaky defense either that Brighton have. So we will have to step up to the plate here. At the same time, I do feel like the FA Cup is a bit of a different animal. Might be as well for Brighton in this case, Spurs 72. The fact that they're kind of comfortable in the league, they potentially will push for Europe, maybe not, but the fact that they're sitting really comfortably in the league right now maybe means they could take this FA Cup more seriously than you might expect, and they could really be going for it just because they probably know where they're going to end up in the league. They might actually focus on things that they could actually really push for, which could be ending up, it could be an FA Cup sort of race or something like that for Brighton. So I would say, again, we can't be caught off guard by maybe the way they might come out against us. They certainly might really go for it, especially like I just said, because, the FA Cup could be their trophy this year, or at least their best sort of moment this year, because the league seems to be, just kind of easy for them so far.
Yeah, spot on. Big up Spurs 72, my man. I really do appreciate the support, brother. What an absolute legend, and I hope you're keeping well. As Radfar says, we have a thinner squad, but more options for the first 11. James, would you agree? Or Sean, you're nodding your head. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I would agree, but James is going to give a better answer because I'm choking on my vape. So
just going to say, everything all right? We don't want to cut the show early if you're all right, Sean. Yeah. And
no, went down the wrong hole then. Sorry. Carry on.
Was it that Brighton stick a rock? No. No, seriousness. It's a very clever window. It's a very, very clever window because Faz is spot on. We have got a thinner squad. But like we said about the rotation options, there's such flexibility within that front line. There's such there's great options in midfield now. I think the one that's light is the right wing back options. I think not everyone trusts Doherty and Emerson. And potentially even you could say Sessegnon as a backup. I think give Sessegnon more game time. But without going too much on about individual places in the squad, I think I saw a graphic on Twitter when at the end of the window, and it was like every single position within that 3-4-3 or within that 5-3-2, however we go, it's got a backup option on every single position that you go, okay, they could do a job. On their day, they're a pretty decent player. They're pretty solid. They're a great squad rotation player. So, yes, we've got a thinner squad, but it's such a clever window. And I know, Dave, you came on our channel and was spot on about Paratici cooking. It's a really clever window, getting rid of those 4 deadwoods and bringing in those 2 very clever signings.
Yeah, spot on. Big up, Faz Radfar. I really do appreciate the support, my man. Jack, we'll go. Shawnee's back, so we'll go to Shawnee with this one. Shawnee Dark Song G says, I love how we got rid of the trio and brought in 2, and our bench will feel so much stronger and have a scary variety to bring on once Skip returns.
Yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. I don't have much to add, really. Like, you know how I feel about the window. You know, the 3 players we got, or the 4 players we got rid of. The only thing I think that with Brian Hill, I do think that was a bit of a shooting from the hip situation where we were running out of time. And because we had Kulusevski and Bentancur probably cooking, but we needed to get rid of players. You know, Daniel Levy, whilst he might have taken the foot off of the, or taken his hand off the steering wheel a little bit, this window, which, hopefully that's the first we're going to see of many more to come. But I do think that he probably did give one stipulation, which is we don't want to have a 26 or 27 man squad where we have to bench people for the rest of the rest of the year. And so you have to get rid of somebody. And because we had the 2 deals that were cooking, maybe he was like, and there was maybe Leon were dragging their feet, or the players were dragging their feet with regard Lo Celso and Ndombele. And so maybe Brian Hill was just an easy thing to do because he wanted to go. His parents wanted him home. And so, not that I'm trying to turn this into a Brian Hill story, but I think the only thing negative about the window, or the only thing that, not even negative, the only thing that's a little bit kind of, was that necessary, was Brian Hill had to be the first one up, the first cab out of the rank, because we needed to get something done to get Kulusevski in. And I think with hindsight now, I mean, I don't know if Brian Hill was going to fit into a Conte system anyway. Obviously, we would like to have hit him to gone somewhere else. But generally speaking, we got rid of the trio, to Dark Sun G's point. We got rid of the 3 toxic elements. We brought in 2 that absolutely does give us all... Well, until we find out whether they're going to be hits or misses themselves, we'll see. Time will tell. But, ultimately, I think that the bench does feel... Or the squad feels lighter in volume, but higher in quality. And I also think there's a little bit more space now for the guys, those the 2 or 3 names that you guys mentioned that come through the academy that maybe are going to be the midfielders. Maybe they get a chance here or there, because and they otherwise wouldn't have done if Dele and Ndombele were going to be there. And we'll see. That's important as well, right? Don't underestimate how important it is to give these youth a chance here. Liverpool do it so well. They blend their experience, their quality, but when they can afford to, they do bring these kids in and give them a little bit of a chance. And we haven't had the opportunity to do that this season so far. So,
do you know what, Sean?
It's a great point, Dark Sunji. Sorry, mate. Yes, James.
Do you know what, Sean? I was just going to say about Brian Hill. I felt very much similar about you with your opinion about, like, it's a bit of a shame that he's gone. But if you think about it, I took a step back and I thought about it, and I thought, well, Brian Hill wasn't getting much game time anyway. He was literally never starting, right? Mm-hmm. But with Kulusevski coming in and the fact that Bergwijn started stepping it up, do we really think Brian Hill would have got hardly any game time?
No.
Like, do you see what? So
I get it, mate. But just sending it back to where we signed him because he was a success in Spain. But it's a totally different animal. Right? I would love to have seen, and I understand what, like I say, to my point about him, they had to get someone out of off the rank first to make everything start moving. But in an ideal world, I'm still happy for him to go on loan. But I just wish he could have gone on loan to a UK club, even someone in the Championship if necessary, or a struggling Premier League team. Going back to where he came from, we're not going to learn anything new about him.
Yeah,
over the next 6 months,
Yeah, he'll probably play well in Valencia. Apparently, he had a good debut in the Copa del Rey the other day, so he probably will play well because that's what he's used to. But I do agree it would have been better to go to an English club, 100%.
Yeah, spot on. Big up, Dark Song G, my man. Great talking point. Big up for the support, brother. Really appreciate it. Rufus Roughcut. I actually was in contact with this guy. I was asking where the name came from. It's
a lovely name.
Wacky Racers, absolute legend.
Wacky Racers.
He says, "Come on, you Spurs. Let's hope tonight. Is what we hope for. Exactly, my man. Look, honestly, I know it's not going to be an easy game, but I do think we have more quality than Brighton, and I do think we should beat them. To be honest with you, and look, it's the hope that kills you, but it's what every Spurs fan hopes or lives with, which is the hope. So, of course, my man, that'll never ever go. Big up, Rufus. What an absolute legend, my man. Love the name.
It's a great name.
Timman 007. He says, I agree with you, Sean. He says, I agree with what you were saying, Sean, but we have been in the top 4 numerous times, and we spent more money when we were out of the top 4.
Yeah, that's just because of the way that the money comes in, right? You don't get paid immediately, and you also have to factor in the variables of the stadium, right? Basically, when we were qualifying for the top 4, we were also going through the process of figuring out the project on the stadium, figuring out the project on the entire high road, and not that I want to take this down a financial path, but I just want to remind people as well that when the Levy Out team, talk about the property development and the cinemas and those things, all of that stuff was absolutely essential for Tottenham to get the planning permission to build the stadium that they did. So whilst it doesn't look good on paper, when you pick the peanuts out of the poo and you go into the context and the devil's in the details with why we had to buy those apartments, why we had to do that stuff, it was all part of a regeneration package from Haringey Council. And so to the point, Tim, man, like the money that was spent on when it was spent, how it was spent, that's all part of the way that the money came in during throughout the seasons, around the Champions League, when you qualified, how much money you made, all of that stuff doesn't come immediately. It all gets drip fed throughout the following years. And so there's more to it than that. It's not as easy as to say like we spent money when we were out and we made money when we were in. There's a little bit more to it, Tim, man, and we can go through that on another day if you want to.
Can we just get a clip on pick the peanuts out of the poo? Because that was an unbelievable statement. And I think that's the best comment of the whole stream.
It's so
said it before, and
every
it's got
time
us
he
off
says
guard.
It gets me every single time.
I'm going to use that going forward. Thanks very much, Sean.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take it. Just reference me.
Yeah,
Next
every
time
time I
you
say it.
We've got to pick the peanuts out of the poo. Sean Butler, circa 2022.
Put it on a quote, get on a frame. Yeah, unbelievable.
You'll have someone at the stadium with a big cardboard now and saying that on it. Oh, you gotta love it. But big up Tim Man 007, my man. I really do appreciate the support. And then we'll take this one and then we're going to give a chance to everybody to plug their channels. And I'm off out of here over to We Are Tottenham TV. But Cavcoff Gamer says this summer has to be investment and ambition time. I'm 100% Cavcoff. But just quickly, what I will say, my man, is that we have put the foundations in place already to be able to go and invest this summer, invest early and show that ambition. And look, now it's just a waiting game. You just got to sit here, wait, be patient and see what they do up to do this summer. I mean, look, if they don't, then I just don't think people will forgive them, know, but everything has been in place for us to be able to do it. It really has been. So big up Cavcoff Gaming, my man. I really, really do appreciate the support. Everybody that is watching, over 400 people, if you do want to come back and watch the game, enjoy the game with us, myself, Jack, Sean, we will be here from 7:45 all the way through to the end of the game, and we stay on after, usually for a while and discuss everything that's gone on. So make sure you do come back and join us here. And make sure now, people, before you do exit the streams, make sure you smash the like button, smash that subscribe button if you are new as well. And anyone, if you have enjoyed the show, feel free to put in a super chat to help support me and Jack on the journey. But James, where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, we can find over on Spurs Related on all socials. The one we're really trying to push at the moment is YouTube. We've been growing at a ridiculous rate. We're still quite a small channel, but we're on 576. So let's try and get that to 600 very soon. That'll be a nice little milestone again. But yeah, we're obviously live a lot of days in the week, pretty much every day at the moment, actually. And we just provide, we did our first fan phone-in show yesterday. That was good to get some insights from fans. So if anyone wants to obviously jump on that, it's every Friday. Come over, just search Spurs Related or use the link that Dave's put on. But it has to be said, enough about my channel. Thanks, guys, for inviting me on again. I always have an absolute blast. The 2 hours go so quick. Jack and Dave, yeah, really, really appreciate you guys letting me come on to such a brilliant platform.
No, absolutely enjoy it. And look, everybody, please do get over and check out Spurs Related. One thing that I do love when I go out, like, especially when I'm on other channels and ones that I keep going back on, is ones that I really do enjoy. I really do have a good laugh on. And Spurs Related is one of them, and I think it's one of the most underrated out there. I think you have an unbelievable social media game, and I've no doubt you'll transfer that to YouTube. But everybody, please do get over there and check out Spurs Related. And from one underrated guy to another, Shawnee, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me here most of the time. A lot of the time, I'm going to be here for the next in 2 hours' time for the rest of the evening. But Spurs Talk Show is my channel. Like James, it's very fledgling. I think I'm on 363 subscribers at the moment, so I'd love to get to 400 as my next target. And over there, we do just some live streams with some various topics, but also more of the finance stuff. And I've got hopefully some interesting topics with scouts and agents and coaches and those sorts of things coming up that are going to kind of delve into some of the off-field topics that I'm interested in and curious about, and hopefully some of you might be as well. So Spurs Talk Show on YouTube and at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter. But I want to big up everyone on the panel as well. It's always fun when the four of us get together. It's always very entertaining and also very educational. So I love it. Thanks guys for having me.
No, absolutely brilliant. And everybody, please do show Shawnee some love. I mean, he comes on here, gives us some incredible hours, and, never ask for a thing for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So please get over there and repay him and show him the love, and smash that subscribe button. What a man. And looking forward to the watch along, my man. But Jack, where can people find you? You're so close to the big 1K, my man.
Wow.
Where can they find you?
Absolutely flying lately, Dave. I would say I kind of almost want to slow down. We're kind of flying so much at this rate on this channel.
Never say that.
It's been a bit kind of crazy. Every time I refresh, we just keep going up. So just want to say a massive thank you to the Harris Army for all the support. Massive thank you to a lot of people in the chat who are true legends of the Flat Cap Army of the second channel as well. Just want to say a massive thank you to all the support that I've received so far. In terms of actual content coming out, Dave, we do have Champions League upon us. We're going to be doing some Champions League watch-alongs. I'm going to be doing a few highlight reactions as well to, I believe, Kulusevski alongside Dave. I do believe I have a video coming out tomorrow with Darius, where Darius and I are going to kind of break down our league predictions, where we're going to kind of see maybe which one of us might actually get our original kind of predictions of the Serie A, Bundesliga, Premier League, and all that good stuff. We're going to take a look at how we're doing, going to look back at some old videos, kind of see how those maybe, aged, and see whether I got some of those predictions right. Lots of content that I have in my mind coming up on the second channel, and also so close to 1,000. So really would appreciate support. Everybody head on over to Flat Cap Euro Talk, please.
No, and again, just like Shawnee, I mean, puts in an absolute incredible amount of hours into this channel, not only on screen, but off screen, to help me get everything ready, to all the talking points put down and everything else, so that we can help make these shows flow, cover a lot during these shows, and keep them moving. So everybody, please do get over to Flat Cap Your Talk and let's help Jack get to that 1K. It's almost there. I beg you, please. But look, I think that's just about it. I think we will wrap it up just quickly. We'll get everybody's score predictions. But before we do, and I'll let Sean respond to William. I mean, not a bad way to end it. A bit of banter. But, Sean, once you respond to William, you can give us your score prediction as well. And everybody else that is as well, put your score predictions in the chat. But William Kelly says Joe Lewis wants out. Levy doesn't taught Levy's child. He hasn't told you. Levy didn't tell you.
No, I heard he wants out. I saw the rumor. He's wanted out for a long time, as long as someone pays the asking price, right? And I don't know. Listen, this is an ongoing circular conversation. I personally think there's very, very few entities in the world who can afford $3 billion, if that's the asking price, for a football club, who would also have the ability to kind of do what some people would have them do, which is treat us like a toy, throw money at it like the oil companies do. First of all, I don't know how many of them there are available, and second of all, I don't necessarily. My personal taste is I don't want people running the club that would treat human life with certain levels of disdain. Not throwing that mud at any particular combination of people, but there's lots there's problems with all of the wealthy clubs. There's problems with the ownership models of what they do to get their money and how they live their lives. I don't want that for Tottenham. And if you go to America and you look at some of the styles of buyouts that they do with English clubs, you look at Burnley, you look at Manchester United, all of those things come with leveraged buyouts. And you know what? Better the devil you know there, because it's not always what it seems. Just look and see what's happening to Burnley. And so, I'm happy for him to go. Don't think anyone's going to pay it. And if there is someone who wants to pay it, I don't necessarily want that person running the club. That's my take on it. As far as today goes, I'm going to say 3-1. I think it'll be a tight affair. I think it'll be 2-1 for the longest time, but I think we're going to nick a winner in the last 10 minutes to give us a bit of breathing space. 3-1. Come on, you Spurs!
Come on, I love it, lad. I love it. James, score prediction?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the 2-1 win. Going to be a tight game. I think we're going to probably go 1-0 up, then concede probably because we'll sit back too much and Brighton will have a lot of possession. I think the wing backs are going to cause problems. I'm calling that now. It's not really much of a call because I think it's kind of going to happen anyway. But I think it will then go 1-1 and I think we'll get a late winner. I think it's going to be Kulusevski. He's going to take his shirt off, go and celebrate in the South Stand and go nuts.
Love it.
I love it.
We're going to see his ginger hair, his ginger chest hair this evening, are we?
I love it.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice.
And Jacko, your score prediction?
2-0 for me. I don't see it being the easiest game. I don't see it being kind of a walk in the park. I don't see Brighton really bending over for us. So I would say 2-0, 1-0. It's not going to be an easy game. But I do see us maybe playing well, and I see us maybe playing comfortably, as well as maybe with a bit of confidence, a bit of swagger, because we got rid of Dele Alli, got rid of Tanguy, got rid of Gio. Maybe there's a bit of buzz in the dressing room. Maybe there's a bit of buzz on the with the players. So I would say not going to be an easy game, but I do expect the players to kind of be a bit different. Maybe they'll carry themselves a bit better this time.
Yeah, love it. Look, for me, I'm going to go 3-1. I think we score 2. They get deflated. They know it's over. We go and score 3. I'm going with Big H to get another FA Cup. I'm going with Kulu with 1 off the bench, and I'm going Sonny with 1 to mark his return. But look, guys, thank you very much to everybody who has tuned in today. Really, really do appreciate it. A massive thank you to everybody who has helped the channel out with a super chat or two to help support the channel financially. I think we do have this one from William Kelly. Would they sell off assets to pay out Lewis?
No.
No, there you are, William. Just a straight no, not going to happen, my man. Maybe we'll talk a bit more about this on the watch along, William. If we're absolutely smashing Brighton like I predict, and it gets boring, you and Sean can have that discussion, my man. But honestly, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you do smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, get your comments in underneath. Any animal rights people out there, please do not, ridicule us. It's not our fault we have to go bird hunting yet again this time around. I do apologise, but as always, come on, you Spurs. Don't say we trust. Potter, you are an imposter.
Conte we trust. Come on, you Spurs.
Guys.